See, he knows. You don't say nothing. He's. I'll get there in a second. I got things. I mean, hey, at least you guys don't have to deal with a giant tentacle monster closing doors.
No, we just had to deal with doors.
Typically, we had to deal with the statue.
Oh shit, I need to update. Fuck, what's the number?
I will have you know that statue went down like a bitch.
Yeah, actually, a statue that weighed God knows how much was easier for us to move than like 4 doors.
Where's the cat?
What cat?
I did not hear anything that was said in the last minute because the loud.
Starting streams.
No, that's not on the starting. It's not on the starting screen. That's on the AFK screen.
Set elevation. New options. Also, I just saw the Bananas been doing a thing that I should be doing with quotation marks around the things that he's saying. But I haven't.
Well, I mean, the only time you type anything in that chat is when you speak as the result.
Better be safe.
I gotta go to that button. What did I say? Okay, yeah, quotes. It's fine there.
What's the difference between spells prepared and spells initially prepared?
Spells initially prepared is how many you have at the beginning of the day. Spells prepared is how many you have now.
Okay, gotcha.
I might need a crash course on all that left, just to be sure. Just everything.
You mean now benevolent DM can teach you when you're getting stuff done?
Kinda.
Are you talking about, like, with Foundry specifically?
That one, yeah. Like rolls and whatnot.
Okay, yeah, that'll be easy enough to teach you as we go. You are caught up on levels, right?
I think so.
Yeah, you just need to do your mythic stuff. It's just fine. You can do that while we get to you. That's... Why did you share a cursed image in general?
Don't talk about that. It's the cursed Minecraft chest.
It's not supposed to look like that.
I'm intimidated.
It's not. No.
Chest rolls to intimidate.
It doesn't even have to roll, it has a natural intimidation.
That's good enough for a I'm gonna put that thing that I sent you into general as well, so everyone else can enjoy it.
I just set a can of Dr. Pepper on Lacey. She doesn't care.
She is Dr.
No.
Alright.
Or Dr. Pepper on your card.
There you go.
I put the closed can on her side. Alright. Everybody's here, everybody's awake, conscious. Delete.
The last two. I'm here.
Delete this, I swear to God. Alright. Well then, let's get started. And we'll just jump straight in and have Theseus get us going.
There we go. All right, I'm back.
Welcome back.
All right. If I remember correctly, last session we spent most of the session almost having breakfast on the ship. Oh god.
Oh, that's not the right button. That's the button.
Was it Bratu or Andros that had the pact?
Andros, very nice.
Also, well, it's two things. It was Bratu and second of Andros isn't around.
Sorry, I was looking at the player list.
That's okay.
But it was
We
Bratu.
accept also just a dwarf man.
Fair enough. So Resolve had a meeting with the devil that holds his contract,
That
which
was
I
Bratu.
actually know very little about, out or in character. And apparently things are going very well for that devil. And we are being sent on a mission to... I think it's attack, or at least infiltrate a camp of Jinn.
Of Ifrit.
And the Ifrit. They're like cousins to the Jinn, aren't they? Though.
Yeah,
Yes, they're also the
End of our origin.
they're also the most hateful of all the Jinn kind.
Awesome, love it, awesome. We also went to great lengths to try and make a copy of and translate the pact. Most of which we were able to do, I believe, or are in the process of doing. With Theseus having to do some clerk work after I believe most of at least a section of the contract was written out for him on a canvas.
The whole contract ended up getting written out for you on
The whole
some,
thing.
on some paper.
Except for a specific part.
Yes, there's a specific clause you can't see.
Okay, good. I remember that part. I was suddenly worried that my cabin was full of tents.
I mean, it is a contract. It's full of tenses.
That one was a bit of a stretch, but good attempt.
Like the tent.
And we also met Theseus, the almost man.
Yes.
We love Theseus.
Is that true? Do you?
I don't mind Theseus. He looks a little odd, but
Just
what can you do?
it just is a little bit
Theseus-
odd.
Yeah. Put a blindfold on us, and I don't know if you'd be able to tell the difference.
Does Theseus
Put a
not feel like
blindfold.
mud?
I mean, like, you wouldn't be able to tell, like, from a distance.
I mean, the problem with Theseus is he has the uncanny valley effect. Which is
need to like cover up some of those differences.
just give him a mask.
Give him a hat.
You'll never be able
He just
to
needs a
tell.
hat.
Never could tell. I mean that sounds like a
I think that was the majority of what we did last session.
and I think you were beginning to discuss what you wanted to do next. Aside from go to the camp.
The resolver suggested before all of this that we visited the wreck of the boat, the sunken ship, but obviously that now that more events have been brought to bear, the inclination has changed slightly, especially at the mention of slavers.
Yeah. So
I mean, Bratu would obviously mention this. When we're supposed to run into that camp of slavers, but it was made out to be soon.
when he told you to go there,
Theseus is along for the ride.
it was a very clear you're going to the camp, not you're gonna happen upon it.
They still didn't say when. He just said you're going there. It's like going to a lot of places.
Yes.
5% amounts for the Kinetic's winnings, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's 5% per day. He also impressed upon you that it's important that you do this as quickly as possible, and encouraged you to rest before you did anything.
While in the process of interrupting your sleep.
Well, his sleep was interrupted already,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it wouldn't have otherwise disrupted his ability to get a good night's rest. But whether or not Bratu adheres to the devil's suggestion is his own business. But there was a suggestion that the boat should be moved to the other side of the island anyways. Because that's localized towards what you all have been discussing anyways. So, as you
It
have
would be
been...
easier on us.
And the captain has already pretty much decided for himself that there's really nothing left on this side of the island to explore anyways. So while you guys have been transcribing contracts and discussing amongst yourselves, he has had the crew getting the ship ready to sail again.
Okay.
But he's
Sounds good.
he hasn't started it yet because he's kind of waiting to see what you all have to say, what your plans are. But if he doesn't hear anything within the hour, you guess he's probably going to just start sailing.
Would we be able to see what's like vaguely on the other side of the island from here?
The two people who can fly can just fly up and see what's on the other side. The tree line's fairly low.
We could also pick you up and show you ourselves.
Yeah.
I didn't ask to be dragged like 500 feet straight up in the air. If I wanted to, I would do such things, being a wizard and all.
You got
I'm
dragged a
fine
lot
being
further
up.
than that when you're unconscious.
It's not even 500 feet.
I what? Excuse me?
They could take you 60 feet in the air.
Well, in 6 seconds.
Say we could go 500. And no one says we can't.
Split the
You know what?
difference.
I'll have to get over this fear of height of mine eventually. 500 feet it is. Who's game? Who's down? Who's up, I should say. I want to see the other side of the island and the other side of the ocean.
I'll let Bratu do that. Also, could you just quickly double check my wings of flying to make sure I've written the appropriate curse on them?
First? Excuse... What?
The whole turn into a raven thing.
If I can find them.
The what now?
Yeah, on the first use of every day, I have a 5% chance to just turn into a bird instead.
I hope that you weren't the one carrying me.
Well, it wasn't the first use of the day when I was carrying it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, that looks correct.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure. Anyway, reach out.
My cat has joined us.
So, Bratu, I guess you're going to be the one flying him up into the air?
Was that serious?
Uh,
yeah,
mostly
sure.
I just want to get a peek at what's on the other side of the island. I heard talk about an Ifriti camp and a shipwreck. And I would like a little bit more information.
I mean, I'm fine flying him up there. I just didn't know he was serious. But yeah, that's fine. Not a problem.
While this is happening, I'm just going to attempt to use my wings as well.
Okay. On the wrong
And
tab.
successfully do so.
Uh-oh. Not this again. Hang on. I gotta... It's freaking out for me.
Oh, it didn't like me rolling my 1d100.
I don't know why it does that sometimes. But it's fine. Worst case, I'll just have to close the program and reopen it. But you're going to take him up into the air so that Theseus, you can see onto the other side of the island where there is the boat that looks like it probably shouldn't be on the water anymore. It almost looks like a floating shipwreck. And then an island that is completely void of any sort of vegetation and is barren, hard-packed dirt with scattered structures all across it, and a large rock formation that seems to have crystals that have this very vibrant red glow to them following up the pillars. And you can see...
Oh god, this is
you can see distant
very
movement.
high up.
But you way too far away to make out any of the figures.
I see. Well, I think I know which is which now. At least I hope I know.
And I took him up as high as he asked to be taken up. Not just straight 500.
Theseus would probably chicken out around 100 feet, honestly. Like, yep, that's good enough. We're at like what, 1,000, 2,000 feet now? Yep, this is good.
I poke the beam.
I am satisfied. I am. Oh, can we go back down now? That
No.
sure is a boat over there. No?
You must
I would
live up
take
there
him
now.
back down.
Oh.
I would take the pet wizard back down to the boat.
Okay. Where the crew has just been watching because they're just waiting for the go-ahead to drop the sails.
Theseus steps back onto the deck and brushes himself off a bit. Oh, sweet land. Wait, no. Water's
Right
good
as
too.
that land
Wa-
starts moving.
Oh no.
It's happening again.
If nobody has anything to offer the captain edgewise, he's going to just order the crew and get them going.
Well,
I would vote to go to the desolate, blasted island first, because shipwreck sounds like a good winding down activity after that.
I think
It's
ghosts
definitely
are...
on this place where everything is nice and predictable.
Alright. So he's going to get the boat moving. It is going to take a little bit because he's having to navigate the shallower waters. And
Sorry.
I was going to say the shallower waters and the fact that the wind here isn't necessarily very strong.
Is there anything I can do when sleeping to stave off the roll, the effects of what's happening on the boat, so I can almost guarantee that I wake up refreshed instead?
You would have to find some way to boost your will save.
So I can't just stuff my cloak in my ears.
No, because it's not necessarily an audible sound so much as it is psychic.
Didn't we take the extra 8 hours to rest, though?
You did.
Why didn't you?
No, you didn't.
Stuff that day.
Neither of you took the last 8 hours to rest.
No,
Well,
I didn't because I just wanted to do stuff.
well, only
Gems.
Bratu failed this time.
No, I failed to.
Yep.
That's why I'm fatigued.
I thought, okay, well,
And I thought we took the 8 hours. Why I'm not?
you have to take 8 hours you have to sleep for 8 hours.
Does the captain know when we will arrive? Like, how long it will take to get there?
Let me see what his best estimate is. I didn't even put it in the... Oh no, where did I put him? There he is.
Captain?
Captain?
Captain, where are you?
Captain?
Oh god, we left him back in the undead village, didn't we?
This'll be fun.
Please no.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to close and reopen. By his best guess, it's probably gonna take the better part of the day.
Oops, so I can nap.
I was thinking the same thing.
We're gonna do one of these for 20 seconds. Find this. Bam. Because I need to join back in. Just in case. Understood. Alright. Let me see if it works now. Yeah, he thinks it's going to take the better part of the day, so whatever you want to try to do with that time.
Oh, I'm going to snooze.
Yep.
There we go. Now it's working properly again. Okay, so you guys are going to take 8 hours to sleep.
If it is possible, yes.
Correct.
I mean, he can also just anchor the boat when they get there and then stay there. He's also taking the long way around the island just in case anything is lurking on the side that is closest to the camp.
We're living in 2022. The boat moved.
Yes. The boat is in a new place now, and that's about where it drops anchor, so that it's easiest to access both of these new places, since the Ifriti don't seem necessarily territorial.
Between a loading ghost ship thing and likely hostiles. Yay!
Well, you're asleep. You have no say.
I know. Rock and hard place.
Theseus would like to collect some bits and scraps of iron, if possible, from around the ship during the day. Then perhaps take a nap.
What are you trying to gather the iron for?
I would like to eventually try to build an iron cobra
Ah.
as like a small construct.
You can't get very much. There's not a lot of spare iron to go around, and what extra iron there is pretty much exists for the purpose of maintenance. They don't keep any like ingots or any ingots or any bullions. It's all pieces, like rings and...
It's all got a purpose.
Yeah. You could maybe skim some off the top, but you're not sure how that would affect anything.
Okay.
This
Damn. If only there was a particular place that I could, like, go and salvage materials from, perhaps, around here.
I mean, iron's...
Oh, hey, look, a boat.
Iron's not necessarily common on the surface anyways, when you're looking for usable raw iron or ingots.
Hey, look.
I was talking more about, like, ripping the hinges off that ghost ship.
You have a hunch
What?
most of those will be rusted to hell.
It doesn't say that it needs to be, like, fresh iron.
It...
Rusted iron cobra.
Nowhere
makes-
nowhere in the cookbook does it say that that I can't add rust.
I mean, if you make a rusted iron crowbar, you do, I'd assume, poison damage as well.
Just make them roll
Exactly.
a fortitude save to not get tetanus.
They already have a
10% attack.
poison.
Then no, they have
This is what genius looks like.
Oh my god. So anyways,
So anyway,
yeah. You guys rest off the effects of the dirge over the course of the day, making sure to get a long, good rest and wake up feeling about as refreshed as you can on the ship. And
make my presence known by manifesting William on top of Lucius.
which thoroughly perplexes the construct. It doesn't really know how to process what's on its head at the moment.
I can feel it
Used
in my
homunculus and an earthen hedgehog.
My poor homunculus is scared.
I wouldn't necessarily call him... I wouldn't call him scared, he's just confused.
Puzzle.
The poor boy.
The poor boy.
My poor boy. What have you done to him?
Look what they did to my boy.
Never speak to me and my other me again.
Never speak to me or me again.
It's okay. Within a couple of moments, William makes his way over to the Resolve and just kind of ambles around.
He does things that hedgehogs do when they're on boats.
A well-documented series of things, of course.
Yes. The captain, though, who seems to be stricken by a new and confusing wave of fatigue, is going to just retire to his quarters for the time being.
Oh, that's definitely
You can-
nice.
Contracted the befuddlement.
He contracted Sugma.
Die.
Poor man.
Please?
What's Dogma?
No.
Steve Jobs.
Who the hell is Steve Jobs?
We're getting off course.
Yeah, a little
We
bit.
did that a little bit ago.
Getting off course. Someone tell the captain.
Since
Now
since
we're closer, can I see anything off the edge of boat that might be of relevance on the island side?
other than the small group of Ifriti that are now starting to gather near the edge of the island,
That's definitely noteworthy. Yes.
Other than them.
other than
Can I
that,
hear them from here?
you could make a perception check.
I like those.
Other than that, though, you can see the camp behind them that is made primarily out of wood, probably taken from the island proper. Some salvaged materials otherwise. It really looks... It looks more like a shanty town than what you would expect from, well, genies in general, but especially Ifrits who have a propensity for more lavish living. That's why most of them don't leave the city of Brass unless they have to. They're not currently speaking, Or if they are, it's low enough that you can't hear it from this distance. But they are watching your boat. One of them
Brush
even...
up on my Ignian.
One of them, even, who appears to be slightly larger than the rest and probably the leader of some capacity, has something interesting on his back. From a distance, it looks like a sort of staff. And since you're looking at it, and you did pretty good on the roll, taking a closer look, it appears to be slightly longer than the average staff, with some sort of a half cradle at the head that may be broken and just never has been repaired, or that was an intentional design choice, and is made out of two distinct types of wood, one that is a pretty vibrant green, and the other that almost looks like it's been stained black. And they're kind of intertwined together.
I feel like I would recognize this stuff if I was playing another character. But as the dwarf hasn't seen any of this stuff, so just makes a note to look at it closer once they're on the island, because he likes to witness other people's craftsmanship. But given that there's nothing of note, there's nothing really for him to pass on to anyone else. So.
Other than that you can just start to make out what appears to be people in one of the houses that are in very dark, almost obsidian chains.
We already knew about the slaves. Even if it was from sources that some might deem less than, I don't know, helpful.
Less than a lot of things in regards to those types of beings.
Devils are
I'd
lawful.
probably say they're not.
Yeah, they're lawful. Could you remind us about what else they are on top of lawful?
They're lawful evil, but that doesn't mean anything.
It means that the law serves them. Well,
Not
they
us.
try to make it so.
It's fine.
Yes, but they have to follow the. They have to follow the rules in order to bend it. So there's some time for you to escape before things get worse.
Bend it like a beck.
Yeah, but the Ifrits are just watching you guys right now. They're not doing anything.
Well, we should clamber onto the
I do
boat.
believe this is. I do believe this is resolves the show now.
Well, why isn't my show?
Well, you're why we're here.
No, Gratu's the one who... It's his devil, not
God
mine.
da-
I don't have one.
God damn it! Why?
Yet.
On this
Yet.
character.
I'll have you know, as soon as I tick over to 9, it's not going to be a yet. I'm just going to borrow away from everything. You can't stop me.
But while the resolve's looking in general, I want to see if I can spot the sort of person that I'm here to look for.
You could make a
If I
perception
can
check.
tell by any mannerisms or anything.
You can make a perception check.
And then I could do that.
It's to make things faster. I put perception in a quick bar because we can solve them.
You know what? I might have done that and just forgotten I did it. That sound makes it more bearable.
No, you have no idea who you're looking for. You don't see any trace of them. You just see the three Ifrits standing near the edge of the coastline watching.
Well, the dwarf is going to see about getting onto the small boat.
The dinghy.
Whatever the ship has to get us on.
The small boat.
The dinghy. Yeah.
Yes.
The small.
I'll just accept it.
That is what a dinghy is, though.
What's your problem with it?
I think he just doesn't like the word.
You're a dinghy.
So, it's my music.
I'll join him on the dinghy.
Yay!
The
I have friends.
dinghy.
Yeah, same.
Okay, so you guys get onto the dinghy and lower it down, and paddle your way over.
Did the captain ever emerge?
No, he seemed to be implying he's going to be sleeping. He was not feeling very well at all.
We're out here risking our lives, and he's just snoozing.
But as you guys get closer, the largest of the Ifrits, the leader in this case, has drawn the staff from his back and is currently holding it almost like he would hold a large club, more than one might hold a staff.
Oh no.
And the other two have their hands on their scimitars. And when you get about 100 feet away from the coastline, you all receive a simultaneous telepathic message that tells you to stop.
Is this a compulsion, or is it just a warning?
It's a voice in your head telling you to stop.
Yeah, so it's just a warning.
Yeah.
I rarely listen to that voice.
Do we all get that?
Yes, and it's very clearly not your own internal monologue. No, Cinder, you do not get that as well.
No.
Oh no, there's more of them in my head now.
It was what Theseus said.
Okay. So, do you stop?
Wait, did we have one of the crew on the ship? Oh, sorry, from the ship paddling with us, or did we just take the boat?
I mean, by this point, I would assume at least one of you would have learned how to man the dinghy. But if you wanted to take one of the crew with you, suppose you could do that instead.
If
I think they want us to stop.
I think that's Bratu's job because he's meathead.
Excuse you.
What? I didn't say anything.
He's not wrong, though.
But I guess if I was the one rowing the dinghy, which I probably would, I imagine it's not hard to use a paddle. But when we all stop, I guess I would stop, or at least try to slow up into a stop.
Okay.
Just mainly out of confusion.
Sure. So you
The
slow.
dragon is buffering.
You slow the dinghy to a stop, and you watch the large Ifrit kind of nod his head towards the boat, and the other two lift off of the ground and begin hovering towards you. Their hands are still on their rapiers, or their scimitars, not their rapier.
So they haven't drawn them, have they?
They have not drawn them yet. The only one with anything drawn is the largest one, which Theseus might be able to identify if he wants to try.
Theseus will give that a shot.
That would be an Arcana check. Okay. He's just a big Ifrit.
Yeah, nothing to see here.
As the other two start to float over, I'm gonna hover just above the boat.
Okay.
Naturally, because I'm a kineticist, I'm like a one-armed anyway, so...
They both hesitate once you start to float, and they shoot each other a quick glance before continuing their slow advance towards the boat. until they're flanking it on either side, and you get your first proper looks at the large, muscular giants with crimson skin, smoldering eyes, and small black horns. You can see little tufts of smoke rising from their flesh. Both of them are wearing fairly nice clothing, lots of silk and jewelry, but you can see the leather armor beneath it all that's providing them at least some manner of protection. And one of them holds out his hand that's not on the scimitar. We would like you to provide weapons now.
I look to Bratu for what we're gonna do.
And the resolve is just floating.
Well, while you're looking to the Bratu, I'm just going to hand over my sickle because it really doesn't faze me at all.
Okay, so you set your sickle down on its hand.
Yep.
And it's still looking expectantly at the rest of the group.
Alright.
Ratu's going to talk first.
Oh no.
Well, and he's
Like
just
they don't
gonna
know.
he's just gonna ask a very simple question, but well, why do we? No, that's a dumb question. Goddamn. I feel like Bratu would know what to ask here, and my brain is just being dumb.
It's a pretty simple request. They're just asking for your weapons.
All of them?
I mean, mine are pretty
Yes.
fucking obvious, so I guess I will. You know what? Yeah, I'll hand them over. I'm specifically going. I'm gonna be curious how. Well, no, they're giants. You said, or that size.
They, compared to even you, they are very large men.
Okay, then. But yeah, I'll reluctantly, but I will oblige. And hand them
Will they
over.
want to take the staff off me as well?
I don't know. We'll see if they'd be if they would recognize that as a weapon. Because you can see that the other one is just holding it like it's a big club. So it's entirely possible it may not recognize that as a weapon.
All three of mine look like weapons, so
Oh.
you know, big ass. Here, first I hand them the big ass axe, then I hand them the big hammer. Then I hand
He
them
probably
the
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. He just sees it as a stick.
Oh, okay.
Because the one that you have is a lot of. It's pretty much just a big withered piece of of driftwood.
Yeah, pretty much.
So to him, that's exactly what it looks like.
I'll run with that.
As for Bratu, you provide him your axe and your hammer and your bow and.
That's all my weapons.
Okay.
Really surprised
Don't-
you don't keep your dagger on you somewhere.
I will check my bags, but it's not out in the open, like those three
Yeah,
things are.
that's my point. Like, you don't
And then Theseus, I don't think you have anything that appears like a weapon. I think you've just got your wand. Oh, you.
Theseus does have his consecrated dagger,
Are
so
you-
he'll hand that over.
Okay, that answers my question. So he's going to, once you've handed over all your weapons, he's going to give you all a quick look over. I really need to just keep this open. I don't know why I closed it again. He's going to give you all a quick look over. And he is content in his belief that nobody is intentionally concealing anything from him.
All I have is a
You
pot.
fool.
And so he's going to produce a small sack on his hip and carefully stick everything in there, making sure that all the bladed bits do not go anywhere near the edge. And then pull a string so that it closes tight. And the both of them will retreat to once more flank their leader. And he's going to take one hand off of the staff he's holding and motion you to approach.
I'm going to take the staff palming off my back and just use it as a walking stick for the meantime.
Sure.
As we get off the boat, that is, because obviously it would be dumb to do that in the air.
Be an interesting style point. But
Just a mime like you're walking
Just
while
walking
floating.
through the air.
Bratu, you start rowing the boat once more until it starts up onto the dry land and everybody gets out, leaving you standing in front of this very immense figure in front of you who looks pretty similar to the other two in terms of its facial structure and its kind of general physical shape. But where the other two stand about 12 feet tall, this one is edging on nearly 15. Seems to have a little more muscle mass to it, and is wearing exclusively fine silks and jewelry. You cannot see any trace of armor or anything remotely functional on it other than the staff. Everything about it seems draped in luxury.
It makes no sense that just don't get knowledge planes as a class. So I was wondering about that.
And it's
This would all have.
and it's going to look the three of you over with almost an assessing eye to it, almost like it's evaluating each of you in turn. It seems to pretty quickly disregard Theseus in favor of Bratu and the Resolve, almost examining your hardiness. And
I mean, my skin looks like literally rock, but I'm also 4 times shorter than it.
yes, but you're also a dwarf. And it knows well enough about dwarves. And then it's going to assume that Bratu is the leader in this case, since he's the largest, and that's kind of how they do a lot of things. And what may bring you to me today?
I have no intent of disabusing of this matters.
Well, I'm the reason we're here, so that works out. Well, we're here looking for someone, actually, and we were informed he may be here.
If he is here, and you do not intend to buy him, then I suggest you leave immediately. Everyone in this area belongs to me.
Well, the person we're looking for, we know more through mannerism and personality than sight. So, before we could even buy him, we would have to figure out which individual here is him, if you wouldn't mind us doing so. My accent is becoming here is why.
And to what proof do I have that you will pay and not simply try to stab me in the back with some hidden blade? I do not do
Try to
dealings
tell.
with poor individuals.
This cloak look poor to you, old man.
I was about to say, like, does this armor look poor? Like,
You also have to remember his idea of wealth is very skewed. As you can tell from looking at his clothes alone, if that is material from the material plane, it is worth several thousand gold easily. And that's without knowing any of the specific cuts in his jewelry or any of the finer silks he might have. You know.
So, can I appraise his jewelry? Or, like, at least, get a feel for how refined it is?
Sure.
Using either appraise or profession?
You can make an appraise check on his outfit. Ooh, I got a vicious cat. By your most conservative estimate, the jewelry alone that he's wearing is probably more valuable than anything any of you have in your possession together.
I don't exactly.
The gems alone are very finely cut black diamonds, which in the material plane are naturally a rare occurrence, but the specific cut and clarity through which you can see, your trained eye especially, these are either very carefully manufactured diamonds that would take decades to get correct, or they are rare naturally occurring volcanic ones, in which case they're even more valuable.
Well, I would like to take a small lead on this then, just as kind of like an approach to his perceptions of wealth.
That's fine.
And from my backpack, I will produce the onyx that I cut a couple of days ago
Okay.
as kind of an offering to him. Obviously, this kind of grates against the result because he knows what this man's profession,
Mm-hmm.
and it doesn't really work out well for him, but needs a must.
Okay, and how much is that worth?
That's 550 gold, but it's more the act of just freely giving it.
Sure. The act alone is definitely going to help skew him in your favor, and he will take his hand off of the staff and reach out to take it from you. The gem is tiny in his hand. It's between his index and his thumb that he picks it out of yours and looks at it and examines it closely.
Oh, and as he's doing that, I will mention that. Yeah, the mention of a shop is
Yeah.
pure fantasy. But
He's gonna look you over a little more scrutinizingly. And he's going to take the gem, and you watch him kind of roll it between his fingers for a moment and reshape it. It's not nearly as precise a cut as you could get if you had your tools out and ready to go. But just rolling it in his hands, he seems to reshape it to fit one of the very few open sockets left on an earring in his right ear. And once it's shaped properly, he's going to, just with his hand, push it in and mold the brackets into place. You say you do not know him by face. You know by mannerism alone?
Yes, it is why we are having to search for him.
Fine. You may search. But you will be watched the entire time. And if you try any business I do not like, well, 2 of you are certainly hardy enough to pay for any transgressions you may make.
the
When-
dwarf was having an interesting time keeping his face straight.
When
See
you
his frowns.
when you find the one you are looking for, simply tell one of the guards and I will come and we will negotiate a fair price for it.
And by the way, during this, is there any like little ding or anything going off in my head that it's this guy. But I don't think it is, but...
I mean, by his very nature, he goes against... He technically fits the bill. You definitely don't like him, but you get the feeling this is not who you're after. You're not trying to enslave a slaver.
Yeah, especially when the Ifriti are supposed to get their slaves back from somebody. I remember that part.
No, you're making sure... You're making sure that when they leave, they take the person with them.
Yes,
That's the only thing he cares about.
Yep. In which case, I will go about searching like I'm browsing for the slaves and such, but actually more so looking amongst the Ifriti, the ones that are not already enslaved.
So,
I don't suppose it's possible for my geokinesis to be... My basic geokinesis to, like, weaken some locks as we pass.
you might be able to try. But he leads you with his guards to the entrance to the slave camp. Where you can see... Oh, right, I gotta do the thing with the... Hang on. Sorry. Token vision, fog exploration. There you go.
There we go.
So he's going to take you to the opening at the south there. And you can see inside there are at least a dozen more Ifrit, several of which are armed with whips. One of which has a particularly nasty barbed whip. And they seem to be lording over either small or large groups of slaves. Several of which are in transit in and out of what looks to be a mine of some sort here. And he gives kind of a grandiose wave towards the camp before giving you all one more look over and especially kind of scanning Bratu before taking to the air and flying away.
There he goes.
The two that are flanking you give you a much wider berth, but they do keep close enough that they can hear just about everything you say. And
So, who are we looking for?
First, I'm going to... Oh, again, is the Resolve just going along with us, or is he doing his own thing?
Well, I don't think they would like it particularly much if we split up, so I'm going to be following along and trying to do things along the way.
Okay. And yeah,
Which
I'm
is a
going
little
to...
difficult when you build elements to Splinter's mind.
The first thing I'm going to go is over to... I'm going to peruse near where the one with the whip, with the barbed whip is.
so the barbed...
Obviously.
The one with the barbed... Right.
Hello?
The one with the barbed whip, you said?
Yes.
Okay. So, he is currently lording over groups of slaves in that area there. He seems to be making sure that they are constantly bringing out what appear to be large piles of rocks and dumping them on one side of the mouth before going back in. And you get the sense from the echo you can hear from inside, they're pretty deep down in there at the deepest. And then...
How close? Sorry, how close are we to this mound of off-cut stone? Cast-off stone, rather.
That's up to you guys. How close do you want to get?
I'm going to get close enough to be able to judge this man's mannerisms and personality. However,
So you'd have to get pretty close.
But I wouldn't get in the way, but I would do so.
Sure.
I mean, whilst he's doing that, I would like to sift the pile to see what's in there.
Okay. So, you're gonna...
Like the
Yeah, you're going to take some time and sift through, and that actually is what several of the slaves are doing on either side. They are also sifting through the stones, so they momentarily give pause as the stones themselves seem to kind of, sift and shuffle to reveal whatever might be inside. But of at least the piles that you have access to and can see, there doesn't appear to be anything notable. It just seems quarried stone.
What kind of stone?
You gonna ask me to be a geologist now?
It matters to it specifically matters to the result because he knows things that a certain stone is located in proximity to.
I think this is the one I'm thinking of. Sorry, I'm trying to get the one that's not the RuneScape that I'm looking for. It's a lot of igneous rock.
Okay, I'm with
I looked up igneous stone and it gave me a RuneScape thing, and I was very little perplexed. But yes, it's all igneous stone, which you gather, if the Ifrit have been here long enough, makes pretty good sense. They generate heat on their own, and magical beings tend to influence the environment around them. As for the
probably not too far.
Oh, go ahead.
I say it's probably not too far then to say that they might like looking for things like obsidian and more of those black diamonds.
Not.
Which would be my guess.
They're probably, you'd guess based on the scale of the operation, they're looking for whatever they can get, but those would be two particularly valuable things to them. As for the Ifrit in charge in question, he has, much like the rest of them, that certain self-important air that Ifrit keep, but his is from station rather than just self-importance. If you had to wager a guess based on the niceness of his clothes, which is above average for an Ifrit, and the particularly violent whip he wields, it's plausible that he's pretty high up in the chain of command for this place. Probably just a step or two below the leader that you saw. And he seems to be watching for any sort of an excuse to use it. He doesn't even necessarily seem to care if they do the job well. He's actually hoping they make a mistake. Based on the way that his hand is fixed to the handle of the whip.
What a lovely person.
Oh yeah, certainly don't like him.
He does momentarily break his gaze from the group to look at you all, run once or twice over Theseus, and then take a longer, more pointed glance at Bratu and the Resolve. But upon hearing some of the stones drop and shift, he returns his focus to his charge.
I'm so glad that my sifting has diverted attention.
And as I look him over to, see that self-important attitude, besides obviously, again, not liking this person for the obvious reasons, which would...
You get the feeling you're not looking for an Ifrit in this place.
Okay.
Which helps out.
Ifrit do not themselves make good slaves, because they would rather die than suffer that. And because...
I mean, that could play into a devil's hands too, but good to know.
Well, and because of a genie's nature, they die and just go back to their plane.
Oh yeah, they only die if they're in their plane.
And these creatures are very much not native to where you are, so...
I don't think we know where we are, besides not the plane of fire.
You know you're in the plane of water. That was identified when it happened.
I thought only our kineticist knew that. I didn't know he shared that information.
What was I shared?
That would be a
I
pretty...
think it was just in everyone, but...
But
I
It was just
remember
you
there were
and
roles.
Mark
I did.
You and
Um,
crossed over for that, but I think it was extrapolated.
Emiko, what's your strength score again? I don't remember.
My strength score is 18.
So, as you are all observing and watching, Bratu, you notice a familiar face, and the other two, it's... Well, no, I think the Resolve met Emiko, so Bratu and Resolve, there's a familiar face among them. You catch a glimpse of black scales before you catch any of the other features, and her wings are currently bound in what looks like probably rather painful leather bindings. And you can see, unlike the others who just have iron manacles and shackles affixed to them, hers are a more sturdy, kind of mithril blend with this typical atypical obsidian mixture. More of an aesthetic choice than a functional one. It probably hurts the stability just a little bit, but you both see the half-dragon figure of a friend who is currently slogging rocks to and from the cave, with an otter conspicuously darting between rocks to keep an eye on her. Theseus, you've never met this person before, so for you this is quite the amazing sight. Among the humans, the elves, the dwarves, and the mephits you can see as the slaves, there's one particular humanoid that stands out to you. She is, at a base, an unassuming figure. What draws attention to her are the draconic features, the black scales covering a lot of the flesh that you can see, the sharpened claws that she's able to get into the stone in order to heft it a little better, and the bound black wings that are pretty well tied to her back. You would guess probably in an attempt to avoid her being able to escape. And
Intimidating.
she seems otherwise ill-suited to the task, if not for some of the brute strength she has. And you can tell by some of the rocks she's able to handle. She's probably much stronger than the average individual would be. But Bratu and Resolve, you recognize your friend Emiko.
Acquaintance for me, but I know that Emiko was around the dwarf for just long enough to realize that the hedgehog that suddenly appeared next to her feet probably shouldn't be there.
The appearing hedgehog also causes the otter to dart closer.
I must state that I don't remember the hedgehog, I'm sorry.
You probably, given that you were around the resort for, well, maybe two or 3 days, probably would have seen the hedgehog at least once.
Yeah,
Even
as
from
Emiko
day-
notices the hedgehog, she kinda peeks up, and tries to look around for her old friends. But knowing that I assume that the Ifriti aren't very nice to their quote-unquote slaves. She'd rather keep her head down for the most part.
Yeah, it varies from Ifrit to Ifrit, but this particular one, you know, is pretty much a savage. If he has even the inkling that you've made a mistake, he will use the whip.
Yeah.
You've been pretty good to avoid it, but you've seen it get used.
The hedgehog is more of just an alert thing if there are people around who could help out.
Yeah. That's why Emiko would kind of peek up and look around for a bit to try and find her friends. But do little more than that because she, well, much like any slave, fears the whip.
I mean, Bratu is never hard to spot.
Yeah, exactly. So even after she'd seen Bratu, she'd still, keep her head down and at most attempt to get her other to go to either Bratu or Resolve.
And it does. It recognizes people that it can trust, and so it darts, avoiding the watchful eye of the Ifrit, and ends up climbing up onto Bratu's shoulder.
William departs once more back into my head.
My imaginary friend, Quilliam.
Oh, yeah.
He is. I mean, he's still imaginary as he comes from your imagination, I would bet.
No, he's a voice from the elemental plane of Earth.
Ah, okay. Bratu is realizing this is going to be that they now have 2 jobs here, and would whisper as much to the Resolve, simply saying quietly in Dwarven. I don't think a freak would do Dwarven. I'll take the guess that they don't. And just say,
They're free.
oh yeah, you know Undercommon, don't you?
We all do.
Yeah, then it would just be kind of quiet Undercommon that to Theseus and Resolve that, well, now we have 2 things to do here.
What, you like the look of that one?
You do have a question?
I'll let that one play out first, though.
But she's just gonna raise a strong brow at Theseus, and then say an Undercommon. She was companion in my old group when I was down in the Underdark.
So that's a yes.
Do not make me lift you 200 feet.
Okay.
While this is happening, I would like to see if there are any Ifrit around who look particularly, I don't know, troublemakers isn't the right word, but want to try and get under the skin of their superiors. Specifically, if any of them look like casters.
Well, other than the obvious inclusion of the one in front of you, give me a perception check. That's so loud.
Yes.
I don't know why it's so loud. Sorry. It's quite quiet for me, actually.
Weird. So you notice a couple that have a certain irritable quality to them that you figure could be exploited in that way. In front of the building here, there are 2 on either side of the door that both look thoroughly displeased with their current situation. They both look like they've recently suffered a scuffle of some sort, so they have rather prominent facial scars. And judging by the way they're kind of glaring at each other, you figure that's probably related. You see one that is patrolling that building, kind of taking a loose patrol from like here around the front to there, who is glancing between a large tome in his hands and the world in front of him, kind of like he's speed reading and then looking up, and then reading and looking up. And you can actually just make out one of them in the tower, who every time he hears a call from the one above him, kind of gives a sneering look and just kind of mocks him verbally, like quiet so that no one can hear him, but you can see him,
Yeah, I get you. In which case, what's the distance between this building here and the mine?
Since this map is not the map is not to scale.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to ask.
It's more
less than 120 feet.
It's about 100 feet.
So the other two will realize that the dwarf is glancing around furtively, kind of mumbling stuff under his breath. Would I be able to pass off a fire blast as a spell of somebody else? But make it look like something like a burning arc or a scorching ray or something.
That would take a sleight of hand.
Which I don't.
Hey now, wait a minute here. Let's not go framing magic users.
But
Well.
now, when you think about it for a moment, your mind actually goes back to the one who's patrolling with the tome. There's something about him that bothers you. When he comes back towards you, there's just something about the face that's wrong. It's hard for you to even necessarily process, let alone put into words. But just something about its face is off.
Is off, like, similar to Thusia's?
In a similar vein, yeah. Where like you can't pick out exactly what the problem is, but you can tell there's something.
In which case, I'll gently tap Theseus's robes and direct his attention over to that man and say,
Now I'll look over as well, since me and Theseus probably finished talking at this point.
I'll come back to you.
Bratu
take
will-
a peek?
Bratu will
Yeah,
say just something's funky.
No, Bratu, I'm coming back to you.
Oh, okay. Okay.
As for
Could
Theseus,
Theseus take a look over at this man and make an appraise check, if appropriate?
this would be more of a... Well, technically, this would actually be a will save to disbelieve.
I do not believe that there is a man's.
would I roll it as well because I'm scrutinizing him, or is this because I don't?
Yeah.
I lack the knowledge.
You can both make will saves to disbelieve.
Ah, while they're doing that,
Okay, yeah. So both of you just see the Ifrit with the very odd facial quality about him. As for Bratu, you see right through the disguise. But it is far from a comforting sight.
oh lovely.
So, it's pretty easy for
Come
you
on, another pallid angel.
It's pretty easy for you to guess once you see through the disguise that whoever you're looking at is probably who you're here to assist. And that's not necessarily the part that bothers you. The part that bothers you is the yellow robes and the book in his hands, which you can readily identify since you've seen it so often in recent weeks as a copy of the Yellow King.
Oh no.
And he seems to be quietly, without verbalizing certain things, reciting parts of it, almost as if he's trying to memorize them. And then he's pacing impatiently as if he's waiting for something, and that something, you guess, is probably you.
But without this knowledge, I would like to initiate stage 1 of my plan.
Well, before he even gets to that, a white scaled claw goes to each of their shoulders, know because you need to know this. He's not trying to stop you. He's grabbing your attention.
What?
And Ratu just kind of the look on his face. If you're able to read draconic features, Resolve has known him long enough to do so. I don't know about Theseus.
I mean, they're pretty expressive.
Yeah. Right now, he's not really trying to hide that. That he's really not happy with the situation. Very displeased.
How much information are you going to give?
I was about to say, because I'm going to roleplay it. He'll say, just go, well, that is what we're looking for. And we would probably, and any other circumstance I would rather see. I think we'd all rather see him burn, given his particular choice of actual colors. One we have gotten to know far, far too well.
And the result will...
Oh no.
You can kind of see him smiling even through the mask. And he'll say,
The gears will turn a little bit in Theseus's head before he, brightens up a bit, and a hand moves to, pat the side of his bag, where he's got his own copy of the book.
Oh no.
That's, yeah. But Ratu, when he sees you pass by, is like, yeah, that is the exact book. And he seems to like it.
but for the rest of us who haven't penetrated the illusion, it just looks like a total investment.
No, the tome you can actually see now that you know what it is. You can see the pages of the King in Yellow, and
But before I knew what it was.
before you knew what it was, no, it was just a book.
Yeah.
It was a large nondescript book. But once you're made aware,
This would be so much easier if I had Earthborn, but I have ideas. I have functions. I'm a dwarf with a plan. So, what the result will do is he'll kind of gently nudge Ratu and Theseus off to, do their own thing. Carry on with their inspection like they told the camp leader that they were doing.
Yep.
And given that he made his, profession known to those around the leader, he's going to go off towards this building, like he's, inspecting things. He's looking at craftsmanship or the quality of things.
okay.
Especially if there's any kind of statues or monuments or something like that.
Sure. As for whether or not any of that actually exists, it is very function over form, which is abnormal for Ifrit, but seems necessary here.
He's still going to look it over. Now, given my lack of ability for sleight of hand, is anyone watching aside from, now that we've split off?
One of the guards is watching you at a distance, and the other one has its focus on the other two.
Can I break line of sight
We'll probably try to, if he's trying to follow us, try to go in an area that would make him...
well, one is going to follow you, and one is going to follow him.
Okay.
That's about what I thought would happen.
As for breaking line of sight, you could try to go on the other side of the building quickly.
Well,
you could run around the other side of the building.
I would like to act like I've seen something that's particularly taken my interest to do just that.
Okay.
And if it works, I would like to try and roll stealth.
What's your running speed? What's your speed again?
30 feet. I can run more than that, obviously, because I can run.
Yeah.
I could, touch off the ground and fly.
Since
60.
they are walking at the moment, you would have enough time. Yeah, you'd be just fast enough to get behind the building.
I hope this works then. Completely average roll. Goddamn.
So you're gonna scurry around the back side of the building, and the Ifrit is going to attempt to figure out where you've gone off to.
Opposed perception check. Oh, Jesus Christ. Lucky.
So you are just quick enough that as he comes around the other side of the building, you are hidden from his sight. And no one else seems to be necessarily paying attention to you.
From there, I would like to use my tremor sense to get a feel for when this illusion Defridi is within say 20 feet.
Okay. And what
When he is,
okay.
I would like to aim a fire blast at the whipped guard, I guess. Sorry, the barbed whip guard, with the intention to miss.
Just a regular fire blast, not some other type of blast?
An extended range fire blast. Which, through, I think I have infusion specialization right now, doesn't cost me any bonus. Yeah, it doesn't.
Give me... I don't know if you have the skill I'm thinking of trained, so it might just be... Yeah, just give me an intelligence check before you do that.
I mean, if it's to work out with the fire damage would do anything. I did that twice, I'm sorry. But then with it,
Yeah, so in case it's relevant, you gather that at worst, fire is going to be something they mostly shrug off. So that's your best case scenario for fire. Worst case is they are just immune to it.
yeah.
If that's
This
relevant.
This isn't an intent to harm. This is an intent to pass it off as this man has done something he shouldn't.
Sure.
So is that just an attack roll with fire blast?
You're intending to miss?
Yes.
I mean, you wouldn't really even need to make an attack roll for that. You're aiming in his general direction so that it looks as if he was shot at, but with the intention of missing. So
Yeah, that's the gist.
you do that pretty easily. You take a moment to aim the blast in the correct general personal space bubble around the Ifrit, which is especially large for them, and fire off a single flame blast that misses and hits one of the wooden supports near the mine. Doesn't seem to do anything meaningful to it. They seem to be fire proofed at the least, if not magically supported against fire. But it does cause the Ifrit to turn from what he's looking at and see Go ahead.
As the blast leaves my fingers, I would like to continue my lap around the building.
Running in the same direction you were already going? Or...
So, I've completed my inspection of the building, and now I'm coming out to the other side to rejoin my friends.
Okay, sure. So, as the blast hits the support and the Ifrit turns to look at the now stunned bookworm, you can hear them shouting at each... You can hear the whip wielder shouting in Ignin at the bookworm.
I can understand that.
Mm-hmm. And it's accusations, as you would expect. You know, the
Yes.
hmm?
General shout.
Oh. The general, how dare you offense level, but with the addition of a particularly volatile Ifrit who is going to fly over from his station and loom over the perplexed and confused reader, who's actually going to drop his book, and you watch as he does, the illusion fades.
Oh, that'll work out for me then.
Oh, I was.
Oh, that was gross.
Wow. How long did it take the Resolve to do his thing?
Only like 20 seconds.
Long enough for me to ask Theseus if he can dispel magic.
Yeah.
Okay, that Theseus.
Let me see if I've got that prepared today. I should.
I don't think it matters if you do, because you got that thing.
The thing he has one use of left for the day?
Oh,
No,
yeah.
he's got 3 uses, sorry. You get...
We did the rest. We did the same.
No, you get... Well, you can only get 1 long rest per day, but it's also, you have a base of 5.
So this-
In either case, I do.
It's supposed to be 3 plus twice your tier.
Yeah, 3 plus
In
twice.
any case, I do have it prepared for today.
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
that
bro,
which means
as
I must have found the mythic monsters one.
It's fine.
Baratsu would have been in the process of, in Undercommon, talking to Theseus about potentially dispelling this person's illusion as this happens. So that conversation becomes a moot point.
So, as you guys are having
Someone's
this...
flinging fire.
As you guys are having this conversation, this becomes the central focus point in the entire camp. In fact, the guards are now even going over to investigate what's just happened. As it's... Infighting is very rare among Ifrits to begin with, especially towards higher stationed individuals.
I'm also going to go near, but I actually want to fly up and kind of stay further back than the guards, but be a little higher up in the air so I can keep an eye on more than just him.
Okay.
I don't know how close the guards are generally getting to the situation, so I can't give numbers.
I mean, the 2 that were on you are now practically grabbing this yellow-robed individual. As the commotion is happening, though, Cinder, you actually recognize this as a perfect chance to sneak away. This is one of the only times you have seen not a single guard watching you.
That would require a sneak check, no?
Not immediately. The commotion is big enough that no one's paying attention to you. And you can see several of the others are also antsy, looking like they're going to try and run, but they don't really seem to have the guts to do so. They're more afraid of getting caught.
Well, Namiko is going to try and set an example and then Usher, make a beeline, or, try to get away. Essentially at a beeline to the nearest exit. While trying to get as many people with her as possible.
Okay, so you pretty immediately take off into more of a brisk walk than a run, knowing that running might draw attention to you. And as you do, you also spot your friends and their new companion kind of up in this general area, if it'll ping. Somewhere up in this area.
As I round the corner from my pretend inspection, I would like to adopt this expression, even though it's covered by the mask.
I don't like where this is going.
How
Yeah.
could
But,
this have happened?
Yeah,
But,
what's going on?
But, actually, as that happens, I guess right before I fly, since the resolve did go up to us, I'm going to just tell him quickly, check on and help Emiko. I'm gonna see if I can make this. I'm gonna see if I can keep this commotion going.
Oh no.
I mean, I would have thought, like, you know, an attempted blasting of a superior would be more than enough to knock this man in jail, but
I mean,
I don't know enough about Ifriti society.
well, I mean, it already looks like that's where this is going. Like,
yeah,
especially once his disguise dropped, they're pretty ready to, like, shackle him.
Excellent.
Slap him in irons.
Oh, I'm not gonna try to prevent that. I'm gonna try to just make this commotion a little louder, a little more, kind of draw more attention to it, so that it kind of takes longer.
My tactical genius.
How exactly do you plan on doing that?
The first thing I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna fly closer and be like, and loudly say.
No.
That's what he says, by the way.
I should just fly to the chief and get him there.
But no, I'm still good at you, just the laughter. That's what you say, you fly up and go,
Fly up and villain laugh.
No, no, he's. No, I'm going to fly over and loudly say, and say, "Ah, see your excellent slave master has found the very person I came here to find. And good, he's already in shackles."
Oh no. So the one with the barbed whip, who has actually, as you're saying this, he has drawn it back. He is ready to go. And so,
Oh yeah, and I've just complimented him.
so he's looking between the robed figure and you. You know this one?
Not in a positive sense.
How?
He
How do
is-
you know this one?
I was tasked to find him. Seems the information I had was correct, and you've drawn him out of... What was that, some sort of illusion?
Whatever it was. I believe what I am to do is justified. And you can hear he's going to crack it against the ground first, and then he's going to bring it up in the longest possible motion across the figure's body. And where you expect blood to come with it, instead comes this black ooze flinging into the sky that splatters against the ground like 5 or 10 feet away. The Ifrit doesn't really seem to think anything of it. He just cracks his whip against the ground again to clean it. And then kind of motions with his heads towards the guards.
Hold on. Do we really think just one is enough for both not just deceiving you, fine sir, but also taking assault against you?
You believe we've stopped with one? No. What we must do is not for even intimidation. For him to have hidden among us for so long, he knows things. We must extract those things, and then we must kill him.
Tactical genius didn't go quite as good.
Yeah. Ooh, no, it didn't. So press.
The things this one has learned in our presence, it knows what we look for, it knows what we search for, it knows our secrets. It must die.
Now, while I'm not personally against that, with what what I am tasked for would be unfortunate were he to die.
And
See,
for what reason should we care about your task? You are among our people. This is now our property. Why do I care what you are here for? You are here on the graces of my
you're a
master.
businessman.
Yes, I am a businessman.
Business.
And it is in my best interest to ensure that the secrets this one now knows do not escape with it.
Well, if he is made a slave, then he cannot escape. And would death really be kind enough? I mean, he sought to pretend to be one of you. Why not undergo the fate that is the worst possible fate for one of your kind? After all, no true genie would ever deal with slavery, but now he must. Does that not sound more cruel?
This
More
creature,
deserving of his punishment?
this creature does not have the same sense that we do about chains. It cannot fathom the reasons we hate them. To compare it to us is near an insult, and were you not here on the Master's good graces, I would take the whip to you as well, for daring to even insinuate such a thing.
Weird way for him to take me insulting it. I'd say it should be punished more for pretending to be him, but okay.
He's an Ifriti. Don't give him too much, credit for the intelligence department.
Fair enough.
To see this one shackled could undermine our entire operation, as, again, it knows things.
I didn't mean to put those there.
Earthblade.
I helped.
I didn't mean to put mine down either. I just kept quiet. No one would notice.
Something is going down.
Well, I was here originally thinking I would be purchasing this individual, or seeing him already enslaved. I came here for business. Why not we turn this into business?
And what do you offer? What could make it worth our while to take such a risk?
Coin, for one. But I imagine not just coin, which is why I imagine we may have to discuss the terms.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Okay. That was almost a nat 20.
Nat 14.
He's gonna look to one of the guards. Retrieve the master. Let him be the arbiter of this. There's a kind of look between the superior you and the man in yellow. Then, not wanting to risk disobeying a direct order, the guard is going to give a bow and fly towards where the leader has gone. The one with the whip is going to turn to you. I certainly hope you have an offer worthy of our time on this. That we can come to an arrangement that is beneficial to us. For if you've wasted our time, I believe we will have a new set of shackles to put on you. Your kind fetches quite the coin on the market. And based on the weapons I saw you come in with, you would be particularly useful in the mines on our home world. But for your sake, I hope you're not wasting our time.
There's just a little bit of irony going on in his head about mention of mining. But beyond that,
Irony about mining.
Arr.
yeah, when he'll nod, keeping a calm demeanor, and then go to rejoin Theseus and look for the resolve.
I'm just a perfectly normal Earth geneticist. I don't know anything about fire.
So, I'm here too.
I'm a geokineticist. I don't know nothing about that.
Yeah,
I mean, that's fine. I'm just looking for them both to rejoin them.
I mean, they're not hiding, I don't think. They're just kind of there.
I was completely shocked about this turn of events.
Yes, I don't know if you actually went and did what I suggested or not. He just suggested it, heard what you said, and left.
Well, all I did was I sent William after them to make sure that they got out.
Okay, I assume the
Obviously,
otter
it
went
would be
with
very
as well.
suspicious if,
You know, unless Emiko didn't actually leave, yeah, the otter's going with her.
Okay.
I was about to ask how the run was going, or how the escape was going, but yeah.
Considering the commotion that's been created, pretty well. A good dozen of you get away before the attention starts to fade from what's just happening.
Take a genius.
And
Good shit.
you, in particular, know that you could probably slip back in undetected because you can change your form.
Well, even then, wouldn't it still be kind of dragon-like?
I mean,
Oh wait, no. I can change my form in more than one way. Boink.
you can turn into any humanoid whose face you know.
Yeah.
You could turn
Turn into
Ambrose.
Theseus.
Oh no, there's 3 of him.
Yeah, I'm this guy's twin.
Oh boy.
Hey, can I imitate Andros?
I think strictly from a meta perspective, turning into Theseus is probably the best option, but I won't say no if you want to flatter me by doing that.
Yeah, you could turn into Andros if you wanted to, yes.
We're also technically turn into the matriarch.
I think
I-
the drown on the plane of water might attract a lot of attention.
Yeah. Could always. Yeah. I don't know. Do what you want to do. I'm not gonna make suggestions.
Unbeknownst to any of you, I am the Resolve is looking incredibly smug.
Yeah. You're about to be not as smug.
I'm incredibly smug.
Are we doing things with Emiko, or can I try to damper the smugness?
That's up to Emiko, what she's doing.
I'm kind of thinking about which humanoid I should turn into. No, it's stupid, but
We like stupid here, obviously.
Look, you've got heaps of options. You can turn into any of the other slaves. You can turn into any of the guards. You can turn into that one innkeeper that time.
You could
Yeah.
turn into Quincy, yeah.
yeah.
You've got a whole bunch of options on who you could assume the look of.
Exactly, and I think it might be too many options for my simpleton mind.
Then just go with Andros.
Yeah.
I would push for Theseus, but I think he needs to meet Thuseus first.
Oh no.
Yeah, but Theseus is on the boat, so that's not happening right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Wait,
Let's
there's
just follow you.
a Theseus?
You'll don't worry about that.
You'll meet him eventually.
Let's just go with
I
Andros.
need to see where this goes. I'm turning into Theseus. Sorry, Theseus.
Well, no, you're turning into Theseus. You don't know what
Yeah.
Theseus is yet. Okay.
No, it was a joke.
Why don't
Because of the R.
Why don't you give me a stealth check, as I assume you're gonna sneak back in to go meet with the people.
Yes.
Those are probably one of the options that attracts the police attention because they could have just missed the twin.
Okay. Even as the commotion's dying down, you're able to slip in and meet with the rest of the group. And suddenly, among your ranks, there is now 2 Theseuses.
One of us speaks the truth, the other lies.
One of them.
My smug bubble
One of,
before my smug bubble gets burst, I'm gonna say that. How do you spell Theseus?
Theseus,
the
but
U
swapping
instead
the
of an
E. No, you swap the E and the U.
Oh, you swap them? Okay.
Okay, yeah.
No, it's
Thuseus.
Yeah.
that's how you. Yeah.
Theseus.
Well, if Emiko speaks in quote-unquote Theseus, it would sound feminine, right?
It could sound however you want it to sound. You assume everything about the creature. You don't know what his voice sounds like, so you could emulate what you think Theseus's voice is.
So this is a polymorph or alter shape type thing, not an illusion.
This is shape-shifting. She turns into the humanoid.
Then yeah, your voice can be changed as well because your vocal cords will change as well with the rest of your body.
I guess if you want to get the scientific explanation.
Let's not get too deep into this and just go with what Emiko decides.
I was just explaining how it worked to her. Yeah.
Me.
So,
She.
so Theseus,
I have returned, brother.
so Theseus sees Theseus walk up.
But this Theseus is wearing rags instead of anything you're familiar with.
Theseus, you've become a real boy.
I'm a real boy.
Oh God.
Oh no. Well,
To alleviate the rags, Theseus will take off his cloak of resistance and give it to other Theseus for now.
And other Theseus will take the cloak and put it on. Thank you, brother.
There, you're welcome, brother.
I'm just gonna. Roger's just gonna go. Well, just say an undercommon. Emiko. A question mark, very big question mark at the end of that. But he knows Emiko speaks undercommon, so.
Emiko will very much reply, and then they're coming. Right, too?
Okay, and I'm also gonna, fuck. I will also, clothing, just to try to add more to the disguise that is cover the rags. I will also give my filter scarf to Theseus's twin. And I don't think, unless my tunic of deadly might can be, unless it's worn over the armor, which it might be, I don't know. I would give that as well, so there is a tunic. But I don't know if a tunic is worn over plate armor or not. I don't think so.
Your tunic would be, in this case, would be probably worn under the plate.
Especially given the plate, definitely.
Especially because it's full plate.
Yeah, I figured, wanted to ask just in case.
Yeah, it's under your plate. Oh, I'm being kicked.
Yep, and gosh, I don't think I have other clothing I can keep.
I've moved my cloak to the caravan.
How do
It's mine now.
Yeah.
Go.
I moved my filter scarf to the caravan so that Emiko could grab it. The caravan is under the companion section of the character section of Dual Bar.
I see that, but I also see something very disturbing.
Leave my
Andor's
portable
portable
alone.
hole.
You don't remember the portable hole?
I do, but it's the name.
Leave it alone.
For now, Emika will take the Clerk of Resistance and fill the scarf and then mark it in her notes that they belong to
Just
people.
drag them into your inventory.
And
Take them out of the caravan.
between the two items, you look passably decent.
There is a look from Bratu to the Resolve to see if he has anything to go with the costume.
To dress Emiko while you're waiting for inevitable doom.
Oh look, my smugness still hasn't been burst, but I also don't have anything to offer. Unless you need soap.
I mean, I might need soap later, but not now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so... sorry, I gave my copy of the King in Yellow to you, didn't I, Theseus?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what else to do.
Which
Didn't Emiko technically also have that book of Hasta?
I think you have the Book of Cults, but you don't have any of your items at the moment.
No. It
Also-
was just for future reference.
Also, Emiko, you also can have an adventurer's sash.
Oh, hell yeah.
Just
Yeah, you have
doesn't.
you have a Book of Cults, which is even more in depth than the King in Yellow could ever be.
Oh.
Well, King in Yellow is a play and a ritual.
It's also the divine text of Hastur. So, speaking of the book that's now on the ground, one of them picks it up.
Oh no.
Excellent. This can only go well.
And it's open to the very first page from where it fell and has been picked up. And since you're mostly playing the waiting game, he takes it upon himself to start reading. And
Can Emiko
Marvelous.
slap the shit out of the book?
Well, none. Wait. Has Theseus done this?
no, this is one of the Ifrit.
Oh yeah, then he's not directly next to us.
Mm-mm.
He's also twice your size.
Yeah, there's that too.
Maybe,
Genie
but
Blast
uh,
out of his
but
hands.
Emiko understands that cults are not good, even if she is now Theseus.
Well, yeah, you still have your brain.
Yeah.
If you want to slap the book out of the Ifrit's hand, you could try. It's
At the very least, can she go up to him and put her hand on the book, like attempt to stop him from reading, and just shake her head, or his head?
the Ifrit's going to give you a funny look, because you know from at least some experience, the first act of the play is pretty mundane. There's not that much odd about it. So he's just gonna kind of give you an odd look and carefully lift your hand off of the book.
And we see this.
Yes.
Then
It's not like he's, it's not like a fanatic would try to force your hand off the book. It's like someone who's protective of their property is just like, don't touch that.
Yeah, Emiko will try in as many languages as she can because she doesn't know Ifrit or Pigman.
Bratu will step
To explain that it's not a good idea to read this.
Well, Bratu was gonna step in, but I guess Emiko wishes to do so.
Theseus is gonna stay back so that this Ifrit doesn't like start looking between Emiko and Theseus.
Actually, wouldn't Emiko have like a basic understanding of what languages the Ifrit understand?
You could,
Like, common.
I mean, you could make an Arcana check.
Oh look, the one thing I'm actually good at, other than stealth.
Beans. Oh, I'm on the wrong chat again. Among their languages... Oh, sorry. You are aware they speak all of the elemental languages and common.
Well, she'll say it in common then.
Okay. Then it's going to kind of look at you. See nothing wrong with this. It's a book. It's a play.
Bruh. If Emiko will allow, Bratu will step in, but only if Emiko isn't immediately responding. He won't interrupt.
Emiko will allow Bratu to step in.
Bratu
Because
will-
she's still somewhat unwary of what's going on, even though she's technically disguised.
Yeah, Bratu will say, well, it's supposed to seem that way. We came across it on the island, on a copy of it, not on the island not far from here, and in search of that man that got taken away. And if opened and read at the wrong time, well, let's just say it has ties to a certain yellow undead lord.
That's going to
Including summoning him.
That's going to especially confuse him as he momentarily goes through all of the gods that he's aware of. I know of many undead lords, none of which particularly are fond of the color yellow.
Hastur's undead, isn't he?
No, he's a great old one.
Oh, he's a great old one. Okay, then I would not have said undead. That was Aaron fucking up.
I don't know where you got undead from. He's a tentacle monster.
Can Emiko try...
He's a refined king who just likes yellow stuff.
But then I would have said, instead of undead, then like, he's a very old creature
Claws.
and lord that likes yellow.
You could say that he's pretty grey.
Ow.
Would Emiko know that he's not from this plane?
That the Ifrit is not from the plane that you're on right now?
No. The
Hastur?
Hastur.
Oh yeah, you would
Yes. Oh,
Oh yeah, you would definitely know that. You actually know where he's from. You know he's from a
I
place.
really hope he's not from here.
You know he's from a place called Carcosa, which is basically his prison.
Beautiful Carcosa.
yeah.
Emiko will try to
odd.
relay that to the Freddy and be like, and go essentially. The person who wrote this book is what's called an old god. and his influence can ruin civilizations in any hand.
Bratu was trying
Please
to say
do
his
not
name.
read.
Yeah, Bratu will add on. We saw someone read this later in it, and their eyes started glowing yellow.
It is what happens to lesser beings messing with powerful artifacts. Lucky for you, you shan't fear such things.
He's not wrong.
Bratu is just gonna be like, well, we gave you fair warning at the very least.
Amigo will reluctantly take your hand back and pull away.
I mean, because Bratu would like that no one open it or mess with it, but he has to later make a deal with these people. Which is what he's going to go inform the resolve that his plan has led to.
My plan has been perfect. Thank you.
Resolve. Legitimately, he goes over, puts his hand on the Resolve's shoulder, and kind of says in Dwarven, "Your plan nearly got our targets killed."
Huh. Very vocal, baby.
There's just he's just going.
I like this dwarf.
Just glare for a bit before he replies with, "Well, we have to make a deal worth their while to not let them kill him." Emiko escaped, others also did, but I'd rather save capturing other slaves for a last resort negotiation tactic. If at all possible, I'd like to leave them free.
There is one bargaining chip that you know you do have. Considering how dedicated he seemed to reading The King in Yellow.
I'm ignoring the man who's got the key in yellow. I'm being.
Oh, I meant the captive. He probably...
That's not here. We're gonna go back to the boat and say, hey, look, you gotta go over to the islands and the freaking things.
Wink,
So the
wink.
Ifrit can see the bad things that happen to you.
Relive your trauma for these strangers.
That's what it sounds like, but
That's not what I'm implying at all.
that's all my brain went to.
I'm just implying you have a Hastur cultist who has been dedicated in his reading of The King in Yellow.
But Bratu will say, well, offering that might make them want to just take you as a slave. I mean, they are rather fond of it, and they've been eyeing the two of us up this entire time. Maybe the chief. That one with the whip. Debatable.
I might
And
have
he-
something that I could offer to them.
He will also add. should be some memories of some very completely demolished doors that might imply otherwise.
Safety, I'm not worried about. Potential freedom, I am. I know you can take care of yourself. But numbers are still numbers. I'm going to be concerned.
Vicious cat.
And I'll add, just in a kind of gentler tone.
Certainly. But we'll see what we can negotiate.
Besides, I don't think negotiating with cult aspects is going to be particularly good for any of us.
Yeah. Yeah.
And the fact that this is entirely from his perspective, the fact that the chieftain accepted his token and seemed to appreciate the level of his craftsmanship, even though it was just done on a boat with a many tool.
Yeah. It's Ratu isn't against you doing work for them. He's just concerned them trying to twist it into making you a slave when we're not looking. Because
Of which he's already put up at the honor thing, as well as the fact that he could just blow holes in people. He doesn't have conventional weapons that can be taken off him.
So, you guys, as you're having your discussion, you see the guard and the chief return. And the chief looks moderately more irritated than he did before. As he flies down and lands in front of you, examining the situation, and the man in the yellow robes who's got the clear gash across his body that is still leaking its odd black substance. And he looks to you all with this kind of unhappy glare about him. I'll leave you in here not but an hour, and you cause problems. So I do not trust you mortals.
we simply... We simply tracked the person we were after. As I said, we figured he was here. We did not expect him to be masquerading, but he was still here.
You expect him to just suddenly lash out and attack. Who would have thought such a thing would have happened?
Yes, well, evidently...
A tragedy.
Evidently, while you were looking for him, he was not waiting for you. Otherwise, perhaps this much might have been amicable. Nonetheless, we have a problem to solve, and I've been told you wish to negotiate such. As my insubordinates have told you, this one knows secrets, tricks of our operation, our goings and comings, that we simply cannot allow to escape. And when the prospect of putting him to death was brought to the table, you were adamant that we keep him alive. And I would like to know, first, what for? I'm now supremely curious as to your reasoning for this one. Particularly because of the book I can see that my minion has in his hands that greatly curiouses me.
Well, I believe he should suffer through slavery instead of being granted death. That is the reasoning. Some people do not deserve simply to die.
And you believe he would simply die when we extract information from him?
Well, one of your subordinates, your slave master, made it very, very, very clear that he had to die, that there was no other option.
Oh, most certainly. The end result would be death. There are steps before that must be taken because of his knowledge. And particularly his fascination with that book, which I found quaint most days. However, upon the discovery that it was indeed immortal in disguise, that curiosity has bloomed within me.
Well, we may be able to potentially alleviate some of that curiosity. Part of why we've been after him. But that can all be part of the deal.
Let us save time and avoid my increasing annoyance with the matter. What is it you offer in exchange for his slavery rather than death?
Any and all information I have regarding that book and his association with it and his interest in it, as well as potential coin. That would be, of course, a negotiable price. And from there, if that is not enough, well, we could potentially work out other services or goods. But the coin would be the first thing after the information, so we know how much more to offer beyond that.
I'm just preparing something, whatever.
As you're speaking,
Now that's where I stop, because he's making it very clear that, obviously the first thing is all information he can provide and coin. From there, goods and services, depending.
money can be exchanged for goods and services. Should I wait for you?
Well, it depends on us, so.
Okay. So once you finish speaking, he's going to motion with his hand to have the one holding the book bring it to him. He's going to take it, and with kind of just a passive interest, he's going to flip through a few of the first pages. Clearly doing a very basic skim of the whole thing.
Of the whole thing, so not just the first few pages.
Well, no, of the pages. Of the
Okay,
when I say the whole thing, I mean referring to the section that he's looking at.
Okay.
Then you watch that passive look get a bit more interested. Goes a little farther. And quirks his head and closes the book. This is a play. Very interesting one, I must add. And you have knowledge of why this one here may be particularly vested in this play.
Yes. Yes, indeed.
I will make a simple deal. I believe it's one fair for everyone involved. I want to see this play. I want to see it completed.
Oh.
In exchange, we will extract our information from him, remove it, and keep him as a slave.
Barat's just going to be blunt on the reply and say that play is a divine ritual associated with a great old one, particularly the latter parts of it, which simply opening to some of them caused a crew member we left behind, still recovering from it, mind you, to have his eyes glow yellow. And that was from simply opening to later pages. Gods forbid what it could do if actually enacted. They're completely serious.
I have witnessed plays that were purported to slay its viewers, and felt naught but a tingle. It is only lesser mortals that fear dying to the arts. And I... Go ahead.
No, this is... You finish your thing.
And I particularly have an interest in plays. The performance arts are among my favorites. And you would deny me that over your mortal fears.
Before Ratu manages to reply, look him in the side with my staff and speak up to the man himself and add.
Ratu's kind of surprised that, regardless if this man's mortal or not, that given what it's related to, he doesn't seem to care. So there's a pause for you to get a word in regardless.
Like we getting poked, just to make sure.
Gotcha.
Old words from the dwarf.
They are bold words, but
that alone gives him at least some standing with the fact that he's proven himself, as a craftsman as well.
man, he's already provided a basic version of what he can provide, and it seemed to pass by Freed standards.
Andros, or Resolve, give me a diplomacy check.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. I have it on trade.
Am I able to make one to help or no?
No.
I did already mention. Okay, I already mentioned the
this is
offer of
just
goods
me.
and services.
But,
I'm the one trained in diplomacy.
completely average.
Perfectly average.
While I most
As all
certainly
things should be.
Acknowledge and respect your skills, this has triggered a curiosity within me, one I have not felt in a great many moons.
Yeah, I will reply with...
Cats.
Right now, Bratu's wishing Theseus had picked up the goddamn book. And he will probably never say that again.
Oh, I'm sure you'll say it again. I'm positive you'll say it again.
I swear to you, Bratu, from now on I will pick up every copy that I can find.
He'll walk around with a rack on his back just filled with copies of the King.
I
Just gonna
suppose
make my own yellow robe made out of copies of the book.
I do suppose you are correct that your skill could increase my wealth more than it already is. I have plenty of uncut gems I'm sure you could work wonders upon. But
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
I could do both. I could entreat your services at a much more generous rate when I am in a better mood, when I have seen something that, as you have implied, is not meant for mortal eyes. or mortal sensibilities.
Do something that's not meant for sensibilities.
And while I respect your apprehensions and even perhaps understand the fear that comes with them, unfortunately, I don't share them.
Care.
I don't share your fears, your apprehensions. I've been alive far too long for such things. I'm not demanding that you watch it with me, simply that I see it, even if my eyes are the only one to see them. Could care less if anyone else is privy to such horrible, beautiful things. I feel it is a fair trade. You spend...
Does everybody in the party know what would happen if the play is done to completion?
Yeah, that's the
Have
thing I'm
all.
thinking.
The only one who...
Theseus.
The only one who could probably... There are two people who could probably guess at it, and they would need to make Arcana checks to make that guess.
As,
Emiko and Theseus? Or
Yes, yeah.
Theseus and Proteus?
Yes.
Theseus and Crucius.
as the twins discuss.
Oh, come on.
I am you, but superior.
No!
superior
I'm being
club.
supplanted.
Hey, I was there first.
Emiko,
That's true.
you don't know exactly what will happen, but your book has given an kind of inkling that it can't be good. You may not know exactly what's going to happen, but whatever does happen will probably be bad for anyone who sees it.
Are they
I mean, we've
speaking in
already,
Ignan or Undercommon or Common? Sorry.
we're speaking in common, but haven't we already implied that it's gonna be bad?
Yes, but this man is proud and he did not care.
Yeah, that's why I'm starting to wonder.
Maybe we'd let him have it and run.
And just
because somebody is contract bound, so otherwise, while that might be an option for the rest of us, it isn't for him.
I mean, all he needs to do is
Well-
make sure that the dude is enslaved.
Yeah, it is an option. It is 100% an option. The dude just has to be guaranteed to go into slavery. Problem is that what would happen if this concern going in Bratu's head? What happens if this guy dies watching the play, even though he's an immortal?
That sounds like the sort of thing that might happen.
Yeah, that's the concern.
Yeah, the result doesn't speak legalese, but surely there's something in the contract that says that you must do it to the best of your ability, and if it's not met, then that's okay.
If not
Would-
met. No,
Would
it's in the
Emiko
contract.
have-
If it's not met, I'm dead.
Exhaust all your possibilities.
We can stick around for afterward the play. And we don't have to
What-
see it. Let's just see what happened afterwards.
Would Emiko have a great understanding of what bad entails?
Every human that has ever watched the play to completion has died, gone insane, or come out the other side as not human.
Would she also know that it's whether or not there were immortal humans who read the book or watched the play?
All you would
Oh,
know
God.
about is like mortals, like the most, the closest to immortal that you know about would be something like an Azamar or a Tiefling who shares their, ancient racial heritage.
And
And even they,
Mara Friedman have met the same fate?
yeah.
Those are some more would be TGD is.
To your knowledge, no creature that is immortal has ever watched the play without effectively dying or going insane.
That is mortal?
That is mortal, yeah.
Emiko will then take a step forward and go, sorry to interrupt your conversation, but I must interject. From my knowledge, everyone who's ever watched this exact play, be it Asimov or Thiefling with their somewhat divine or quote-unquote immortal heritage, have gone insane or some degree of insane, or even died. Be it that, of course, they're still mortal, one would assume that they have some kind of divine entity watching over them that could essentially have helped them.
I didn't even understand that last part.
You
Out of character.
You speak of gods, and you speak of mortals, and their relations, and how mortals cannot survive these words, these acts. And yet, I must remind you, I am not mortal. And nothing you have implied to me would stave my curiosity. Self-destructive as it may turn out to be, I'm curious, and I would hate to leverage the fact that I suppose if you are so against this that you may even try to stop it, you are within my territory and you are vastly outnumbered. As I've said, I care not if anyone else watches. It is for my eyes alone that I care. And
Emiko will softly shake her head and raise her hand in like a no, that was not what I was implying gesture. And then go, I'm just saying that even mortals with divine beings watching over them have suffered from watching the play.
Yeah, no.
Whether or not you watch it is entirely up to you. We cannot stop you, nor do I have any what's a hard man?
Interest.
Yeah, interest in stopping you.
I would not. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there.
Well, the last part about him saying he has no interest in stopping him is the important part. Because otherwise, they're going to just repeat it herself.
Your worries and your fears have been considered, and I have acknowledged them, and I understand what you are implying the risk may be. The risk often for great pieces of art are far worth the reward. And there's something nagging me about this that tells me it would be worth whatever risk I may endure to see it.
In that case, Emiko will gently bow her head and pull back. I feel like I have done my duty to inform you of the risks, and as I said, it is up to you. Be as it may. No one's ever really come out, so you might as well transform into a being of mass destruction that would even ruin your own kingdom. And that is all Emiko has to say on the matter.
I will entertain the thought of another option. Your apprehensions have been noted. I will keep this book one way or the other. It is mine now. But I will at least allow you to provide me a concrete offer in return. Disappointing as it may be that I do not get to witness this, should your deal be amenable to my sensibilities.
Has this man forgotten what I've already offered him?
I think he's thinking that's part of a deal.
Theseus would like to step forward with an offer.
Ooh.
The spindly old man will step forward and make a respectful. Yes, I am the second one now. I am no longer the first.
Well, I was more saying the second spindly old man.
Theseus will step forward and make a respectful bow to the chief and say, "My good sir, may I offer something of concrete value to you in exchange for the bondage of this individual?"
What is it you have to offer?
No.
It's the tussie.
Theseus is going to open up his bag, reach in and pull out the Lyre of Building, and make a grand gesture to the camp all around him. I could not help but notice that an immortal being of such grandeur and elegance as yourself seems to be living in a place far beneath his standing. May I, a humble craftsman, offer my services in sprucing up this establishment to better suit your elegant tastes.
What? The flattery is most appreciated in this matter. This place is not permanent. If it were, I would gladly accept that as part of your offer. However, unless you are wishing to return with me to the Plane of Fire at some point and help me with my proper abode, I am afraid I cannot install anything here that is more permanent than these. And I fear that if you were to come with me to the City of Brass, you may keel over from the heat.
This is a shame.
This feels like it's going to take some time to get to the bottom of, and even though he's made his offer, which is probably still sitting on the table, oh Jesus, he's going to take out his armchair to watch.
Okay. I mean, I think we're still just standing out in the open unless we've been escorted into a proper office.
Yeah, no, now the resolve is just sitting.
Yeah, he's taken out a faded leather armchair and he's placed it on the ground, put his haversack to one side, now he's sitting on it.
Theseus will nod in understanding. I see, sir. I understand. And while I would indeed greatly enjoy seeing the Brass City at some point, I would very likely evaporate as soon as I stepped within its walls. Though I do see one thing that this particular liar may assist you with. You seem to have a mine that you are working on. You have slaves working on. May I offer the services of the liar in excavation, perhaps?
Why don't you give me a diplomacy check?
Yeah, the result will also learn to Theseus about the city of Brass's heat.
It's not all
Wait,
that.
not bad. Really not bad.
I mean, also the other person here trained quite a bit in diplomacy is making the deal at the moment.
Well, I didn't know what the plan was going to be before, like, everything happened.
He seems to mull the idea over a little bit, and he doesn't necessarily seem to hate it, but so far he just doesn't seem thrilled. You can see it on his face that he just feels like he's settling.
Yeah, that's why we will speak up and try
Maintain the
to.
steps.
Well,
Hey, did
he's
that
going-
giant obelisk of onyx break?
It's gone.
Man's here likes gemstones.
Oh no, it just kind of like melded into some odd creature and then into the earth.
Aw, damn.
Yeah, remember when the
Trust
whole
me.
church turned into a skeleton? Yeah, that weird shit happens. So you know.
I would have harvested it if it was still around, trust me.
And I probably would have been the one harvesting it.
Because, I mean, like, a 12-foot onyx probably would have bought us, probably everyone here.
You would harvest it because I'm harvesting it and you do what I want.
Well, I'm the miner. I do the harvesting. You turn it into something.
Exactly.
Our skill sets would have worked
Anyway.
together on it, but yes, Bratu would bring up and play off of Theseus's idea. Go. Well, we can certainly offer that service as part of a deal. We also have the idea that our excellent dwarven craftsman, an excellent gem cutter, I must say, could help out here as well.
I get a
Combine
comfortable feeling as smoke is burned up my ass.
He just shifts in his chair like, ooh.
I'm talking you up. And he says, well, combine those two things into a single deal, as well as, if you'd like, that information is still certainly on the table. Combine all three of those things, and what sort of deal would you say that is?
I bet you can't guess the words, but,
Roll a diplomacy check.
yeah.
Roll your
Bluff. It was,
Do we at least have the right person rolling it this time?
I have a +8.
Better than me.
No idea what.
You'll never have the right person doing it because she's not here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
I am backup charisma. I am not main charisma.
Roll the charisma or I'll earthblade you. Stop
Roll
double-
twice? I did. Oh, it's my mouse doing that. I didn't actually double click. So
Well,
it's a 16.
yeah, I was gonna say I'm taking the first one.
I mean, Cordelia can nat 20 a diplomacy.
She can nat 20 a bluff for free once a day.
Yeah. Well, it's also actually my better stat than diplomacy. I have an extra rank in it.
He doesn't seem thrilled about it. I
Well,
guess.
he's.
He's,
I
you can- you-
asked him specifically what his opinion on the deal was. Not that he had to take it.
Yeah, you can see him mulling it over, and then his eyes kind of end up back on the book. Hmm.
Frosty's being very much like.
For as simple as this deal should be, the arts normally do not outweigh monetary things for me. Something here has my interest, and my curiosity has blossomed greatly as you have dissuaded me from it. But I suppose it is hard to argue with the benefits of the things you are offering to me, and the value upon which they would bring.
And, well, you could... And Bratu, because, well, you'd rather the play just never be seen. No, he's not going to say that. Fuck that. Nope, he's going to keep his mouth shut.
Rarity for the dragon,
We need to stop making the book sound so interesting.
I know, you're doing the opposite.
Yeah, what I was about to say, well, Bratu just had it in his head for a second, because my dumbass had it in his head for a second. Oh, you could just do the play when we're long gone. No. That is a specific, different type of alignment than what I want Bratu to do. It is the opposite. So, no, not doing that, not saying it, no.
Such temptation. I must think on it.
I'm gonna make a list and check it twice.
Bitch, I already have someone doing that to me. I don't need a second one.
I must think on this for a time. We will not act until we have eaten and I have had time to consider.
Of course. Every important deal deserves deliberation.
Yes.
Talking up his own decision.
And
I'm just looking through my gemstones.
there is many factors here upon which I must decide.
He just belches.
He's gonna look to one of the guards, and rather than speaking, you just watch him stare kind of intently for a moment or two. And the guard nods his head and flies off, and then another one goes with him a moment later. They will return.
By the way,
They will return shortly to retrieve you. You will eat with me. We will dine, and I will consider the offer you have given, and whether it overwhelms the curiosity that has been risen.
well, I think it is safe to say if this this counteroffer does not meet the one you gave us, and Bratu kind of looks to the party, trying to get them to go along here, and he will simply say, I suppose we shall then, of course, accept the first offer.
What?
I'm just gonna out of character.
Indeed we will.
Basically told him that he could not accept the That's how that's
Yes
going.
and no. Yes and no. It's like, well, we could potentially settle for the first offer,
So
but
What
but
you're saying is
The thing is, Barachu has to have one of these offers go through.
Yes, my point is that he's considering the offer that we've just made. Don't say anything that might jeopardize that, otherwise you're going to get a staff upgrade. Like, I know there's plate in the way, but I'm going to get a good shot.
Listen, I want you to
But
know
no.
if Prato actually said that, Hemiko might get wrinkles. More than she already has, because she looks like the easiest, but you know.
It's more of a...
Either way, he's going
It's
to
also-
leave to go back to his chambers.
And it was more just brought to...
Look, I get what you were trying to say, but the words you chose for that did not convey it.
I mean, listen, my charisma score is probably pretty low. Barachu's is different, okay?
This is more
Sometimes
of
hard to play someone that is better at me than things.
This
And
is
I have a strength-based attack bonus of 8.
What?
Anyways,
For shoving staffs up butts.
about 10 minutes later, the guards are going to return to escort you. Yeah, like that. They're going to
That's very bored.
They're going to escort you to the north. To a new area closer to that stone structure that you've seen. And
Vision again.
what?
Vision again, please.
Oh, right.
We have entered the abyss. The play was already completed in those 10 minutes. Everything has
Oh,
been
fuck.
Father.
You're in the abyss. It's too late. He's going to take. They're going to take you northward to where the rest of the camp is set up, where there's much more permanent fixtures. It seems large, dark metal buildings have been assembled, though their construction is still rather hasty in comparison to some of the buildings that should exist for the Ifrit kind. Contained
I
within
can see a map.
what?
I can see a box.
Why is it doing that?
I got the map.
You might need to reload.
I can do that. Also, it takes me about 5 minutes to force the chair back into my back.
How long did it take to get out? A couple minutes?
Seconds.
Very quickly?
Seconds.
It just always takes 5 minutes to get back in. Fair.
Yes.
The
Anyway.
large stone arch seems to contain within it a roaring fire that goes from the ground to the tip. And the fire doesn't seem to be attempting to spread, it just seems like one long column. You can see the 4 towers that seem relatively equidistant to one another that probably serve some sort of a purpose that you can't really grasp at. And they lead you up to this building here.
I feel that migrated to a plane that I'm attuned to.
No, you have not gone to another plane yet. Yeah, you're
think,
still on the plane of water, but this does appear to be some sort of a connection to the elemental plane of fire.
Yeah, I was more going off by like the architecture and whatnot that maybe we had moved, but
Not yet. You're close to a way through, though.
I was about to say, looks by the map, we're near a portal.
Yes.
Big ass portal.
I mean, also,
I do not see anything.
you're gonna also have to reload, I think.
yeah, just
Damn.
press escape and reload application.
But they're going to lead you to a large complex of sorts, and lead you in through to a large dining hall that appears to normally be occupied by only 1 or 2 people. The table is obscenely large for the one individual who consistently eats there. But today it has been set for 6. the 5 of you and the chief. And
There's 5 of us.
the 5 of you, the 4 of you, right? So 5. I can count.
Unless Lucius is here too, but I don't think so.
Oh, I added a person somehow. Probably because I messaged Cordelia today. Anyways. So it's set for the 5 of you. And the chieftain takes the end of the table, and you guys end up on the flank on either side. And the food, while it is clearly very well made, is very strange to most of you. It seems to be made of... in this case, it's primarily a lot of fish and fruits. But the fruit is all entirely foreign to all of you. And the fish is prepared in very strange... almost show food manners. It looks more like you're supposed to look at the food rather than eat it, though it's clearly meant to be eaten. And there's a large, almost feast spread out on the table for everybody. And at the end of it is the chieftain, who is kind of mulling over a large goblet of some probably alcoholic substance. And he, once the guards have led you in, he kind of waves his hand at them to shoo them away. Sit. Enjoy. I can have drinks brought in if you wish.
I look immediately at the resolve at the mention of drinks. Like, yes, no. Because yes, a dwarf and a person raised by dwarves.
I'm a
and we have
dwarf.
an option for alcohol. Yes, no.
You're big enough and ugly enough to make your own choices here.
We haven't ugly enough. Says the one wearing a mask.
Ow.
Well, while these two are bickering, Theseus is going to take the seat of honor at the right hand of the chief.
Ooh.
Losers.
I have misgivings about this food already. If you will direct your attention to the chat.
I don't...
But,
What am I supposed to see?
The Discord chat.
Oh.
oh god, but
Great.
besides
Before the
Brought
two
in
check.
resolve, going back and forth in what is for them probably a friendly manner. Bratu will have a drink.
A drink.
Simply to take up the host on his kind of.
Sure. So, some rather fruity, nice wine is brought out for you in a presentery, beautiful goblet, and poured by an unseen servant that then drifts away once you have been served.
It's invincible. Can I see it?
Fair point.
Anyway, the resolve will decline the alcoholic weapons that might be listed because wine, really.
Ugh, wine?
And he will just accept, water. Which there should be an abundance of here in the plane.
Sure, yeah, some water is brought to you. And it tastes a little bit off from what you're used to, probably because it's magically distilled salt water.
Delicious seawater.
The salt has
Wow.
been removed from it, but it still has the sea taste to it.
Oh yes, I am drinking fish.
I was about to say, yes, fishy water. But,
This water's a little fishy.
Top me off, unseen man.
So the unseen servant will bring you some wine as well.
And I thank you.
Roger's certainly looking forward to the food, even if it looks odd.
It seems to be one of those things where you can dig in whenever you're ready. He already has a plate in front of him that he's started at.
Oh yes.
Does Emiko need to make a will save?
Why?
Why?
Because I imagine she's been eating slave food for a while.
No. You have good enough self-control.
Okay.
Well, I say that, but the owl bear.
Yeah. Which thankfully,
Emiko.
thankfully
Yeah.
the dwarf does not know about.
You should sit. You should sit immediately on the chief's left, so that he'll be flanked by Theseus.
I mean, we haven't really set anything up, so
Right.
sure.
I think the plural in this case is Thesei.
Yeah, DCI.
DC.
Theseus is-
Jeez.
Thesei.
What is a group of DCI called?
Further research required.
Thest?
Ask later.
Maybe it's called a thest.
Answer
Shake,
unclear.
shake the magic 8-ball.
A library of DCI.
A library of DCI, I like that.
So,
Anyway,
you guys slowly begin to get into the food, taking your time with it. Not really seeming to be in any sort of a hurry. Let me see here.
Definitely going for anything heartier, particularly any fried foods.
I mean, there is some lightly fried fish fillets. I couldn't say it with a straight face. I hate it.
oh wait,
Why? I don't understand the whatever joke. is going
I'll show it to you later. Don't worry about it.
it's
Okay.
a meme.
Ah, it's one of his memes.
As Emiko, I do need one will save from you.
Oh no.
He hates us. He's already hating Emiko already. She just
Is that a 19?
So,
yes, it was.
as you've started to eat, there's something weird about the food. It's not drugged or anything, but there's just a very odd quality to it. And after a moment of eating, you look down, and for a second, you swear that the fish on your plate is rotten. But when you blink, it's back to normal.
Grim.
Did you just say scrum?
No, grim.
What?
That's, totally not fucking concerning at all.
Which one is sitting next to me?
Me and Resolve are probably on the same side, sitting next to either or.
I thought both Thesei were flanking the
Yes.
chief.
Yeah, which then means either me or Resolve is sitting next to one of them.
Is the table circular?
It's a rectangle.
Well, then, we'd still be.
Well, look, either way, we'll probably save that Roger was closer.
Okay.
Emiko will lean closer to whoever and I guess whisper in
Mhm.
Undercommon.
Okay.
Does the food taste odd to you?
It looks like that picture that I sent you.
I am-
I'll
I'm
look
very
at
ready
my-
to roll a stealth check or whatever I need to.
Well, he said an undercommon.
Yeah, but I also whispered.
That's all good.
I'll just take a closer look at my food as I go to take another bite. Anything seem different? Or does it seem fine?
Everything seems totally fine to you.
I'm just gonna reply in undercommon quietly, but not like I'm trying to hide anything, just like we're having a conversation to ourselves. And just kind of say, no.
Look, my food looked like that manifesting food.
So,
Seems pretty fine.
everything
There's
seems...
concern.
Everything's fine with the food. Till you start to chew it. There's something gritty in your mouth as you're chewing. And you catch it, you catch the bulk of it. And it feels distinctly like a bone is in the fish. But when you try to find it again as you continue chewing, it's not in your mouth anymore.
Yes, he thinks. I don't know.
Do we all
Okay.
notice this, or just certain ones?
That was just, so far it's just been Emiko and Bratu.
I'm a
I'll
dwarf
take
in
it.
strange lands, so I'm gonna go get my food anyway, simply because it's strange.
I'll take a bite of the fish.
Yeah, I'm just gonna eat it, not as quickly, but I guess still eat it for now.
Like to intimidate my food into
I want to intimidate the food to be normal.
yes.
I'm going to just try to exchange a gaze with Resolve or Theseus.
Oh, it is
Yeah,
worth
there's-
noting that this is meal time, so my mask is off.
Yeah. And simply, kind of in terms of the gaze, it's just trying to catch your eyes and be like a look of caution. Trying to think of something very simple to, just exchange with a gaze very quickly without raising suspicions. I'm not going to try it for very long, it's just more of like a... Either-
I'm going to return to the habits of old, and I will manifest William to feed him something. Because I know that he's still a voice in my head, but it's nice to feed your pet things.
Even if that pet is a voice in your head.
Leave the
Feed your pet voices, and things shall happen.
So,
So yes, I'm going to take something off my plate, let him do hedgehog things.
the rest of the meal, at least the primary course, seems to go by just fine. No other oddities, though. Bratu, you swear you can feel that bone somewhere in your mouth every so often.
Not the weirdest thing since we got to the plane of water, so you know what? Dealing with it.
And as the main course is finished up, once you all have eaten most of your fill, the plates and such are cleared away, and it's evident the chief has hardly touched his first plate when some of you have probably even gone back for seconds or thirds. He's been kind of picking at it, but just doesn't seem like he's all that hungry. Which is,
Actually, not hungry. Can I sense more?
you could
I was
sense.
gonna ask to do the same thing.
Sure.
Sense hunger.
Well,
I cast
sense
I
it-
cast lie detector.
Well, basically trying to see if the reason he's not hungry is is if it's normal or he's feeling all right or if there's
That's
something
what we're
off
doing.
about it.
Well, you have to roll for that.
God damn, I hate my
Double
mouse.
clicking.
It's
Not even double clicking. My mouse does this.
so Bratu, you're not sure. I mean, he just looks like he might not be all that hungry. Resolve, you can kind of tell he's a little distracted by thought, and that's kind of why he's not eating much. Like, when he remembers to eat, he does, go in and he does get something off his plate. But when he doesn't actively think about it, he just kind of chews on something every so often for the sake of chewing. And, the main course is taken away and dessert is brought out, and it's a very odd warm gelato that seems to still have its proper shape. It's a very odd experience, but wholly delicious. Very well made and has all the flavors you'd expect. It just also seems to have a little bit of a spice kick to it, but it seems to complement the rest of the flavors very well. And again, the chief hardly touches it. And, of course...
Does this one also have bones in it?
Not today.
Why don't you give me a will
Yeah,
save and find out?
I was about to say, you just asked. What? He clearly was not planning to have it be in there, but now you asked.
No, there's no bones in your gelato.
Naturally.
There are
Can I try
bones.
as well?
There are bones inside of you, but
Ah!
yeah, you could try as well,
They're
Emiko.
supposed to be there.
Well,
That's a really
Like how
short
your
will save.
fail is the same as Theseus's.
I see.
Shut up. Shut up.
Yeah, no, there's no bones. Just again the bones inside of you.
huh?
Why are you bringing particular attention to the fact that our skeletons are around?
That's weird, yeah.
Concerning.
Does that include my wings or the wings that I don't currently have?
Yeah, you can't. Those are temporarily not part of you. You have no access to them.
Aside from our suspicions about the food, is there anything happening around us that might take my attention?
Just make a perception check.
Tomorrow we're gonna find that.
Nothing.
I feel like it's too late to ask her to do a perception check as well, but I guess I can.
I mean, if you would be keeping an eye out, go ahead.
After
I have
the
William.
bone that he can't find, yes.
I feel like
Would
tomorrow we're gonna.
Tomorrow it's just going to be that
Like-
one picture.
And can Emiko be naturally suspicious of Defred and then
Sure,
also
go
try and
ahead.
have an eye out?
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't like the fact that you're laughing.
I'm
I'm scared.
I just love the cascade of, well, they failed, so I want to check too. So, Bratu, everything seems in order. The room is just quiet. He doesn't seem to...
Remember that your bone inside you.
Yeah, you're particularly aware of your teeth.
My, yeah, the
Emiko.
extra rows of teeth.
Oh no.
I gotta go in my notes really
I'm going to
fast.
pull up the table.
Suddenly, just while he's doing that, apparently brought to is re-noticing his extra row of teeth.
Brad was just sitting there with his open mouth. I got teeth.
Oh no, he's probably more just has a toothpick.
I gotta find the thing from the right story.
I feel like we're gonna wake up tomorrow and find that we've like eaten part of each other.
Oh
That
no, not
is-
Alpha.
Beyond grimmer than I even bothered
Where
thinking of.
is...
What the fuck?
And it's not even cannibalism, because we're all different races.
Sorry, I'm struggling with my notes really fast.
I mean, right now it would be self-mutilation.
Oh, I know what it's called.
Except Theseus and I.
Yeah, that would be self-mutilation.
Moment.
There it
Oh
is.
no.
You hear a distant singing, and it's a slow 4-verse song that's just... It's been there throughout the entire dinner, and you just haven't really noticed it until now, Emiko. But it's just this same song being repeated. Just a steady, slow singing. You can hardly make out any of the words, but at the end of every verse, you swear you could just hear the word Carcosa.
What?
At the end of every verse, you swear you hear the word Carcosa.
You already made
I
a
don't-
roll
I
regarding...
don't remember this, but I will lean into Bato and go, do you hear this singing as well?
The look you get from him says it all.
Now that she's pointed it
Turn.
out, as the concern flashes on your face, you start to hear it too. But the only word you can make out is in the third verse of every repetition of the song. You hear the word Hyades.
What?
The Hyades.
Hyades.
Is that related to Sugma?
No, it's not. I was thinking the same thing.
I have no idea if I spelled this right. H-A-I-Y-A-D-I-S-E.
Did you
I botched it.
did you have a stroke?
I'll be honest, I have no idea how to spell what you said, so my brain kind of had a stroke trying to...
Oh, right. No, it's Hyades.
Oh. Hades, but the Y is different.
It's the Hyades. Wow.
Discount Hades.
I don't know how you even got half of those letters in there.
I thought it was like hi, H-A-I.
I know what you thought. I know what you thought.
My brain
But
there
those who
got
have,
a little too detailed.
But those who have read the book know about this.
Uh,
Obviously, the Resolve hasn't, but you know, there's at least one of us that's informed.
I mean,
Specifically, the Pet Wizard.
he hasn't noticed it yet.
This gelato is delicious.
I got bones in my body.
Yes, your bones are distinctly still in your body.
Oh god.
So the Resolve is just kind
Serious.
of eating.
That's me. At least I think
he's
it
going
is.
to speak in
Good
Undercommon,
soup.
And it's kind of casually but quietly, not trying to whisper super hard, but just keeping it quiet. He's going to say, happen to hear any singing, the mention of the word Hyades, and kind of saying this to the Resolve as well, but just not directing it at him.
Emika will butt in after the Hades with the word she heard.
Theseus stiffens up at the word Carcosa.
And now that
Uh,
it's been mentioned, now you're starting to hear it too.
Oh no.
Oh, I don't like this. I don't like any of this. We need to just go back to the material plane and leave this place alone.
Do I need to make a roll, or...?
No, you just hear it. I'm just...
What word does he hear?
He doesn't hear any specific word.
Well, I hear it now. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. What else are we supposed to do?
Just trying to find...
Yeah, I suppose so.
Going
It's-
to hide underneath my hedgehog.
I was about to say, if the resolve didn't notice what I said, hopefully.
Because I'd like to run over and
You are not allowed.
Well, you had many normal
Ratu
dinners.
will just say to resolve to just keep an ear out. And that's it. He's not gonna say what to listen for, he's just gonna say to keep an ear out in particular.
Unfortunately, now that I've been told to keep an ear out, I'm now listening. So.
Now you hear it. And at the beginning of every repetition, you hear speak of twin suns sinking behind a lake.
How the fuck did he hear so much?
Oh,
don't know if
fuck, lakes.
Oh, goddamn.
And you watch the chief, who has just kind of gone into this almost comatose staring at the back wall. Just kind of... He's still moving every so often, like you can see his thumb idly tapping against his goblet. But otherwise, he's just transfixed on the back wall.
Is there rhythm to his thumping?
Uh...
Or is it 100% just idly?
It's almost like a metronome, following the pace of the song.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm working out where the sound is coming from.
Give me another perception check.
Ratu's gonna get up and look to see if there's any other Afridi in this room at all.
The sound vaguely seems to be coming from the direction of the back wall. And there do not appear to be any Ifrit in the room at all.
Oh, I'm going to turn around and look at the back wall.
It appears to be a wall.
Oh, good. There's nothing on it yet.
It seems that everyone's looking at the wall. What's over there?
It's a wall that just reminds you your bones are in your body.
And Ratu's
Out of
got
it.
2 rows.
Ratu's going to go. Oh, Ratu's concerned. He's torn. He feels like there's no good way this can
How
go,
far away?
even if we try to get help.
How far away am I from the back wall?
40, 50 feet?
Why do you hate me?
In Undercommon, you know, rescuing our host might strengthen our bargaining position.
And the
Rescuing?
response is, yeah, if we don't get blamed for whatever's going on.
Well, for the meantime, what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag my attention to Theseus, and I will say...
102. Or 201.
Yeah, you're gonna need to make a roll for that.
the original Theseus.
There we go.
Me.
Odds or evens. Oh, I can't wait for you to meet Theseus.
Oh no.
Oh no. Theseus just starts to look sad. Yeah. Yeah. It
Because
does.
yes, it does.
Yeah.
In fact, the part you're hearing starts to make the whole thing click. You've read these exact words before.
Oh boy, it's starting to get in my head. Oh boy, it's all coming together now.
And now the words are starting to get louder. And you can now
Everyone not just Theseus.
you can now clearly, all of you, hear the first verse. as it repeats, and when it comes back, it says, "Along the shore the cloud waves break, the twin suns sink behind the lake, and the shadows lengthen in Carcosa."
Yeah, we need to stop this before. Ooh, we should have stopped this a long time ago, but yeah.
As Theseus says that, I get off my chair and head over to the back wall while trying to feel around with my tremor sense to see what's behind it.
While he's doing that, I'm heading to the front door to try and find some Ifriti.
Skunk. They're locked.
Theseus is going to go up to our host.
As for the wall, your tremor sense tells you there is no wall. And you can sense at least 2 figures moving around behind it.
Is that enough to make me suspicious of this illusion?
Yes.
How could it not be?
And that would give you enough to make a will save to disbelieve it. Thanks to your tremor sense, you are acutely aware the wall is not real. And as you realize that, you go to push your hand through it or interact with it in some way. And the wall vanishes, leaving behind a crudely constructed stage behind it with 2 figures on it, both humanoid. One is the same one that you all revealed earlier. The other is new. She's a woman who is strangely familiar to all of you. She reminds you of, well, everyone except Theseus, I think, has met him. But the
Quincy?
bright shock of pink in her hair, with her, as her yellow robe has the hood pulled down so you can see her face, kind of gives her away as being at least somewhat related to a monk that most of you are familiar with.
Oh
I have
no.
a sneaking suspicion that I've also been on the receiving end of this woman's particular abilities.
Weren't you also the one that ended up finding pictures?
Yes, I have a lockbox, yes.
Yeah.
And the second verse starts to clarify itself. It says, "Strange is the night where black stars rise and strange moons circle through the skies, but stranger still is lost Carcosa."
I mean, at this point, I'm banging and yelling for guards, well, with all my strength on the door to see if I can get any reaction from the other side.
On top of that, has Hawk's mother noticed me?
She seems to have noticed all of you, as her head has momentarily turned away from her almost dancing motions, fluid, swift across the stage, and her eyes have at least once ended on each of you, and there's a look of disappointment in her face, as if she was expecting someone to be amongst you that isn't.
Yeah. Although I feel like his disappointment would be immeasurable and his life would be ruined.
I'm gonna speak up. As I don my mask, just out of habit, it's like, the last word is going to be said with some kind of trepidation, like he's groping for the right word but can't find it.
Loud.
And yeah, the part about our son is mostly guesswork, but it is informed guesswork because of what he holds in his bag.
I bring this to light because it is an inevitability. The arrival happens with or without me. And my son should believe whatever he chooses to. I was hoping to dispel whatever thoughts he may have about me and see him again. I have not seen him in so long. It nearly broke my heart to let him go.
I think it was a book. Let me just double check my gear. Yeah. So the stack of that is the ledger, a family portrait, and the ring.
It is a shame he's not here with you all. I would have liked him to see this himself rather than hear it secondhand.
So at this point, how much could I infer that the elemental trap that, you know, gave me a taste of what I do to others was hers? That was on the box?
Considering she's no longer masking her elemental overflow, yeah. You can see the freezing air surrounding her swirling just very gently in a circular way, and the occasional blip of just darkness that seems to spark through her aura.
Well, I don't really make a point of hiding mine, so she already knows that there is a vague kinship there.
While they were talking, did I get any reaction from the other side?
No.
Fuck.
But she
Okay,
she is going to kind of lean her head, her entire body, so she can get a better look at Bratu. So you're the one the devil spoke of, the one who was to help us. You nearly ruined it, you know. Almost killed the poor bastard. I'm amazed you saved him. I thought for sure that the plan was ruined.
I mean, he's rushing.
Which one of them is intoning the poem?
The humanoid that you recognize is behind her. And
how haughty does he look?
give me a perception check. While he has clarified the next verse.
Yeah, and I'm rushing to tackle him.
Can I lightning bolt that person instead?
He does not necessarily look frail, but he's not nearly as hardy as any one of you.
Just let me quickly check a thing.
Yes, you can attempt to lightning bolt. And Bratu, are you sure you would like to try to charge him?
All this stuff is happening. My question had purpose.
Well, obviously I'm trying to go from one end of the room to the other, so question first.
Well, that was the answer to the question, was that he doesn't look frail in any real way, but he's also not, you know, the most sturdy individual.
Is it possible for me to deal non-lethal damage with an infusion?
I don't see why not. I don't think your blast specifies it deals only lethal damage. You just take a -4 to hit.
Cool. I'd like to throw an Earth Blast at him infused with the bowling infusion.
Sure.
If I see the attacking going on, I am going to still charge. But, you know, with the thing in mind of hitting after the Earth Blast, to basically, I guess it's a bull rush, because I'd be trying to basically knock him out, but knock him away from the stage, primarily.
So, a single Earth Blast at a -4, was it?
Yes.
Attack rolls -4. Oh dear.
That would be a miss. It goes wide as the next verse is intoned from him, and you
I was
hear
hoping to miss that. Goddamn.
songs that the Hyades shall sing, where flap the tatters of the king, must die unheard in dim Carcosa. Now, Baratu, since you have a pretty reasonable movement speed, I'd say you could cross the 60 feet in that same sort of time frame. In doing so, however, you trigger an opportunity attack from her. Where is she? I have to find her.
Well, give me a
Does she already
second.
have a weapon out?
We're gonna come to that.
My shield is out, but obviously I have no weapons.
There we go. She does not have a weapon drawn. However, you can watch as her fist clenches. There's an infusion of energy through it, as that same darkness that has been sparking through her aura suddenly engulfs her fist, and she's going to turn and swing at you as you try to pass her, Bratu.
She has kinetic fist.
Holy shit, she rolled more than a 27. I didn't. Jesus.
What is that untyped?
That is a high ass dexterity. What in the fuck?
I don't remember what that...
Welcome to Kineticists. Enjoy your stay.
Oh, I know what that 3D... Okay, I know what the 3D6 is. The typing is fucky with it. So, you try to charge past her, and she turns and whacks you right in the jaw as you run past. And you feel her fist almost drain the life out of you as it saps it towards the negative energy plane.
Oh.
And...
Sorry, just quickly, what if 18 is?
No. And as part of that, I do also need a will save.
How close are they to us? Or the table?
They're about 60 feet away from you. But Bratu, I do need a will save.
Okay.
Oh, I know what it is. Just quickly, how did you get weapon focus to show up?
Oh. Let me right click on
I'm
the...
going to spend a point of resolve, so I can roll twice,
Sure.
perfectly this time, and take the better result.
I will send you how I did it.
Appreciate it. Oh, that's how it's done. Okay.
That is a failure.
The 22 is?
Yes. So you are shaken for 1 round. As something about the negative energy that has just hit you almost seems to shake you to your very core and
Wait a
unnerve.
sec. Is this related to some sort of fear effect?
It does technically have the word fear in its ability description.
It's never come up before, but there might let me continue, and I'll tell you if something actually does pop up in my samurai stuff.
But it shakes the fear of oblivion into you, and for a moment you swear you can see the darkness of death again. So you're shaken for a round.
Ah, okay. I see what it was. I still get shaken.
Huh.
Okay. But, I see what I got.
Okay. And before anyone has to roll initiative, you guys still have one more part of the intonation to avoid. What do you... I think, Cinder, you were saying you were going to try to lightning bolt?
Yeah.
Okay.
Do I just don't what?
Just cast it.
That's your spell, right?
Yes. Me.
It says I don't have any more spells left. I don't.
Yeah, you have to... Here, I will come in really quick.
I think I might have done that.
So you have to make sure that the number on the left is equal to the number on the right. Why do you have -3 molten orbs? What the hell?
I have no idea.
That was weird. Anyways, try it again now.
There you go.
Okay, and you pass your spell failure. So it's a DC 20. I think it's 5 plus 7, I think. No, it's 3 plus 7.
Well, technically I don't have a spell failure, because I'm not wearing any armor right now.
Oh, yeah, well, right now.
Yeah.
So he succeeds. I'm pretty sure she's going to as well. Where is reflex? Yeah. So.
Oh boy, I lost connection to the server.
So she's going to take no damage at all from it. He's going to take half damage, so he's going to take 16. And then he needs to make a concentration check. So...
By the way, did I get stopped when she hit me? Or did my charge go through?
I mean, she fucking sucker punched you.
I mean, that doesn't mean I stopped.
She applied fist to face.
You do go through the rest of the way, but come back to that in just a second.
All this is happening.
Okay.
8.
Yeah, that's what I was just reminding.
Plus. Your concentration is 8 plus your caster stat, right?
Yeah, level plus primary.
Okay, so 8. I haven't imported this stat block yet. So he is going to maintain his intonations. So Bratu, what specifically are you doing here? Like, what is the specific maneuver you're trying to accomplish?
I was trying to stop him from continuing.
Yeah, no, I was saying Bratu because he's like saying he's charging.
Yeah, basically like a bull rush in order to do the same thing. I'm trying to run into him hard enough that I basically knock the wind out of him so that he can't keep speaking. So same exact purpose.
So you're
as what
trying to
we've all
do
done.
you're trying to do an overrun is what you're trying to do. Because all a bull rush is going to do is push him.
Okay, then yeah, it'd be an overrun.
Okay.
But I don't think you can do that unless you're larger, right?
No, you can put or something of equal size. So
No,
you can
overrun.
put something of
I'm pretty sure you can overrun something the same size that you are. I'm looking right now. You can attempt to overrun. Yeah, so it's fine. It's the same size. It's the same size as you is allowed. But he's going to. Go ahead and roll your CMB.
I took 33 damage, right?
You didn't take any damage.
the punch.
Oh yeah, the punch. You took 33 damage.
Yep. Putting me in an even 7. CMB.
Yeah, then okay. 23.
Oh, that was almost kind of. That would have been a total 30. Why did it do that? Why did it do that to me?
I have to do math again. I can just use. Sorry, I haven't actually brought the stat block in yet. I'm trying not to have to alt tab a bunch. Where is my brain is uncooperative.
Wait,
here.
can I, before you do anything, use Surge to add to the roll?
Yes.
Okay, let me see how Surge works.
You just
So
roll a
just
d6.
one mythic power, just one add 1d6.
Yeah.
Add 1d6?
You spend a mythic power, add 1d6.
So now it's a 20.
Fuck.
So 23 rather.
It's one off. Needed a 24.
One too low.
You needed a 24.
Of course.
Anyone got anything else?
Well, has Theseus got anything to add to this interesting failure of events?
I have a trick up my sleeve, yes.
I like tricks.
Oh, wait, I do have something I can do again if no one else does.
What have you got?
Inspired. The trait.
Which
Or
does
just
is
mobile.
Once a day I can do...
I don't think it applies
reroll.
to this.
Oh,
it's
Skill or ability check. This is
I
not
don't
a.
know what a...
This is a.
Sounded...
This is not a skill or ability check.
It's not?
No.
Okay. I've never known what CMB counts as, so that's fair enough.
It's
the same thing.
it's technically considered an attack.
Okay. Okay, good enough. Fair enough. Never
Well,
mind.
what can the pet wizard do for us?
How close would you say I am to
About
the
6.
stage and everything? That's
About
about
6.
60 feet?
About 60 feet.
Okay.
You have time to move in the middle of all of this as well. This is kind of all happening on top of each other.
Okay. I would like to use my last use of mythic power for the day
I think.
to use Wild Arcana.
Uh huh.
With,
Yeah, you have 2 more after that.
Oh.
But you're going to use Wild Arcana.
And I would like to cast Distracting Cacophony on the stage area.
Okay.
Specifically focusing on the man reciting the poem.
Okay. Said distracting cacophony.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that Wild Arcana also makes it hard to resist.
Casting this. Oh, it forces a concentration check. Okay.
Yeah, he treats it as 2 levels higher.
Yeah, but that has no impact on the effect.
He would add to the DC.
No,
I was
distracting
hoping to
distracting cacophony forces him to make a concentration check on what he's trying to do.
Okay.
So,
I was hoping to drown him out.
that's not enough, I think. I think that's either 1 too low or exactly the number, and I can't remember which, so I'm going to go with that being 1 too low. Meaning that he loses it this round.
Oh.
Alright.
So, where the other 3 verses have fully manifested, this one fails to do so. And we're going to put a pin in it there and come back to it next week.
I
With
think Hawk might be very unhappy if we accidentally kill his brothers.
I very highly doubt that it can happen, but I imagine he'd be pretty
Wow.
upset.
I mean, look,
I have a question.
In a kineticist off, anything is possible.
Yeah. Also, question. I succeeded, right? I did my thing.
Your overrun?
Or does he still got to go back in a cage?
Oh, he's talking about the deal.
Oh, you're not sure.
Lovely. Oh, yeah, no, he's supposed to go in a cage when they leave, so they take him with them. He's got to go through the goddamn portal in a cage.
You'll just have to find out next week.
Well, no, I'm literally remembering what you not only told me today, but what he's also said.